Gooch away. He'll be back with you Monday morning, the 9 till noon show coming up for you very, very shortly. Our Friday panel about to join us. But first, let's get a news update, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Serious questions are being raised as it's emerged the Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service was tasked to Donegal on 93 occasions last year. Latest figures from Donegal County Council reveal that the Donegal Fire Service was mobilised 935 times during 2022 and dealt with a total of 827 incidents. Councillor Martin McDermott is seeking clarity, however, as to what has led to the high volume of calls being responded to by the North's Fire Service. He says if a lack of resources in the county is to blame, then urgent action is needed.
That's something that we really need a very, very quick answer on, because what we're depending on here is life and death. In those situations, there can't be anything left not dealt with, and this is one of those situations where I think that we need an answer extremely quickly. We need to know exactly why the Northern Ireland Fire Service has been called to facilitate our service so many times, whether it's a gap or whether we need more services. I think that needs to be determined and it needs to be sorted out very, very quickly.
A stylish yellow ice warning remains in place in Donegal until midday. While snowfall was less than expected, icy conditions have led to hazardous driving conditions. Motorists are urged to take care on the roads. A woman has been injured after being assaulted at a residence in Bondorn last night. Investigations into the attack on the woman in her 30s, which occurred at around 11:30, are continuing. The woman was taken to hospital for treatment to what have been described as non-life-threatening injuries. A woman in her 30s was later arrested and is due to appear in court this morning. The Public Expenditure Minister says coalition TDs will stick together when it comes to the ending of the eviction ban. There have been reports of lingering divisions within government as some express concerns over the plan to phase out the ban. The Taoiseach said yesterday that even if there's a rise in homelessness as a result, it will not be reintroduced. Minister Paschal Donohoe says extending the ban every few months will be negative in the long term.
While it's a tough decision to make, I'm more acutely aware of the consequences that can have and those who are affected by the decision. They are at the forefront of my mind. The view that I came to is that if we're in a situation where we extend a moratorium like this quarter by quarter by quarter, ultimately we will end up with less rental accommodation in our country in the time ahead.
Weather now, a cold and dry day with sunny spells. There will be isolated showers of rain and sleet this afternoon and evening with highest temperatures of 4 to 6 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love. 2. Great special offers like Super Value Fresh Irish Lamb Legs save 33%. Guinness 15-pack $24.85. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. So follow the 1, 2, 3 and save money at Super Value. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning. 3.5 minutes past 9 this Friday, the 10th of March, 2023. How are you getting on? You're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till noon show. And it is a Friday, which means very shortly I'll introduce to you our Friday panel and we'll get their views on some of the big stories of the week, and we want you involved in that conversation as well, of course. 074 91 25,000 is the number to call. Caroline taking your calls today. You can WhatsApp and text the show as well, 08660 25,000. And if you prefer to watch the programme, get straight onto our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland. You can watch any smart TV, Fire Stick or an app. Same with Facebook, and it's on your tablets and all that kind of stuff as well. All right, so there's no excuse not to digest us one way or the other. All right, let's introduce that panel to you. First of all, Catherine Noon, lawyer and former Fine Gael senator. Good morning, Catherine. How are you?
Good morning.
Great to have you back on the programme. We also have Eamon McGee, former intercounty footballer and columnist. Good morning, Eamon.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
Very good, thanks very much, Eamon. And last but not least, Brendan Byrne, who's currently the CEO of the Irish Fish Processors and Exporters Association. Brendan, how are you getting on?
Not too bad, Greg, and good morning to you.
Great to see you. Great to hear from you as well. OK, let's start with news that Taoiseach Leo Varadkar said the government is not for turning on its decision to lift the eviction ban, even if there's a massive increase in homelessness in the coming months. He said an extension of the moratorium would not solve the problem, and instead the government would look to other solutions. If there's a massive increasing homelessness, he said, then we have to figure out the best way to reverse that. The government decision to end the ban on evictions will be the subject of a Dáil vote on Wednesday, the 22nd of March, after St Patrick's Day, because they're on their hollybobs now. Sinn Féin housing spokesperson Eoin Ó Broin confirmed this afternoon that his party will have a private member's motion debating the previous day, or debated demanding that the government reverse its decision. It's a hot political topic. I think this break for St Patrick's Day is a welcome respite, though I doubt it's going to be let go. And I don't know, the government's in kind of a catch-22, damned if it does and damned if it doesn't. So this is obviously fantastic for the opposition because they can get their teeth into them whichever which way. Catherine Noone, government right to lift this eviction ban, even in the knowledge and acceptance that it is going to leave all different types of people without a roof over their heads.
It's a very, very difficult one. I mean, I think the government have really struggled with the decision but they appear to have made a decision that is the one that most experts in the property area would agree with, that really having the eviction ban in place hasn't massively improved the situation. There are those who would say that it would have been worse if it hadn't been in place. But really, the overall situation between landlords and tenants, it's very broken in the country, as is the whole property situation, as we all know. I mean, we're talking about it day in, day out. There are improvements being made, but it's hard to see them because I suppose there have been a lot of external factors that have come into play, including the situation in Ukraine and our welcome of Ukraine.
But Catherine, I'm obviously clearly not an expert, okay, but the eviction ban has been in place. It does mean that people have not been thrown out onto the streets, but in the interim, we've kind of done nothing to prepare for the inevitable end of the eviction ban. For instance, one of the biggest complaints landlords seems to have is the high rate of tax. In other European countries, it's down around 7, 8, 9%. Here, it's over 50, 51%. You know, do a bit of work in that regard or something. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
It feels like nothing has been happening for half a year. We bought ourselves some time and we're still at the same point we were at the beginning.
And the point that you make is totally valid. And it's a point that I've been hearing on many of the discussions on this issue in the last few days from property experts and, you know, representatives of landlords. And they have been making that case for years. And I'm an accidental landlord myself. And, you know, it really, it's kind of, it is a pension for when you're older. But on a day-to-day basis, if you were very calculating and clever about what you do with your money, being a landlord is not a good idea, you know, and tax-wise, there are no breaks. And
does it depend what you want for it? Because it seems that a lot of the vox pops that you hear, landlords are upset they have to pay towards their mortgage. Do you know what I mean? If this is your pension, is it not? And when I say this is your, I don't mean yours, right? I'm speaking in general. I mean, you know, you're expected to contribute to it yourself. A lot of what I'm hearing is people are upset that now they're having to put €200 or €300 a month towards their. It is their property, but then I also understand that the way things are going, they feel they've got no control over that property, that, you know, that can they liquidate it ever if they wanted to. So I do see both sides.
Well, it's two-edged, and I think that's very fair comment from you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not so much paying towards the mortgage, it's the overall picture when it comes to tax, you know. So if somebody earns minimum wage or medium wages, say, and they're a landlord, they're taxed on their income and they don't get any breaks for the mortgage being in existence. So it's not as simple as them not wanting to pay towards their mortgage, although that is a way to look at it. But I mean, you know, I'm not here to defend landlords, but I mean, there is a perception. I mean, I heard somebody on the radio this morning talking about how the word landlord really would need to change, because in a way, the word in itself makes it seem like they're somehow superior to tenants.
It's a dirty word now, there's no doubt about it.
You know, and it's like in the same category as developers and lawyers and politicians, of which I, you know,
bankers.
I'm ticking a lot of boxes, but you know.
I just want to say at this point that Catherine's a landlord, a lawyer, and a former politician. Just trichotomy.
But no, yeah. So you know, I'm a triple scum of the earth or whatever. But you know, at the end of the day, there's so much negative press around that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's individuals who, a lot of the time, we have obviously massive corporate landlords, but
we can't expect landlords to fix the property crisis. The
No, and
Taoiseach...
you're right. Going back to your point about policy, we have had time to implement policy that would make it more advantageous, and you wouldn't have as many landlords fleeing the market. So, and that's an actual fact based on statistics that I've been reading and listening to over the last week or more. That there's been very intense conversation around this. So, it's as you say, it's a fundamental issue of policy when it comes to landlords, and I think that we have been, in a way, a little populist in how the government has been, in a way, a little bit populist in how they have responded to the wishes of or the lobbying of those who represent landlords and those who have property, because the perception is that because you're a landlord, you're somehow so much better off, but that's not the reality. Not
all the time. Okay, Eamon, what do you think? I mean, what's your views on all of this?
I think you started off there. Is it the right thing to do? And I think we have to stop looking at that in terms of what's right and what's wrong. For me, looking at it, we're bound by the markets. In reality, we have to accept that. We've limited control over in terms of how we react to things and what provisions and what measures we put in. But at the end of the day, we're bound by the markets. And I think ultimately the thing is broken. I think that we're reacting rather than being operating from the front foot, and it's. I don't have the answers. I'm not knowledgeable enough.
But what confuses me, Eamon, is if I were the government's one of their advisors, a job I would never take on, but I'm sure there are many, many of them, I would say, right, if we're going to come with this, we have to come with something else. We have to come with something for the landlords. We have to come for something with the renters. You would not simply announce an end to this eviction ban. You'd want to say, right, we recognise the challenges with landlords, so we're going to look at the taxation element of things, or, and give something to all parties. It wouldn't make it all go away, but it would be far easier to go on radio shows when you choose to do so and answer questions, because you'd be seen to be actually recognising the challenges.
You would be seeing what I also and I recognise what Catherine is saying there in terms of we shouldn't demonise the landlord, and that seems to be the way things are going, and it's this nearly nasty word, but it's very, very hard when a large percentage of TDs are landlords and they're operating from that mindset. And maybe it helps in a way, but it definitely doesn't help for the optics of the situation in terms of how they go about addressing the situation.
And the truth is that if we were to open the phone lines here now and invite landlords to come on and fight their corner, they wouldn't, because as soon as you'd put your head above the parapet, it would be knocked off, or someone would say in the street, "I heard you on Highland, do you think this, that and the other?" That is sort of the dirty space, not literally is, but that landlords probably feel they're in, or some people see them in.
Exactly. If you're going out for a few pints at the weekend, you wouldn't admit that you're a landlord. You just keep the head down for
Would you admit you're a politician first or a landlord first?
You would admit you were neither of them.
I'm joking, Catherine. I'm joking.
I'm having an awful time, but just Eamon, just on your point there, I mean, it's not as simple as to say that because TDs sometimes own property. Like, you could say the same about TDs being farmers or TDs being close to fishery, or it's not quite as simple with respect to say that, because if TDs were having the weight of influence in the landlord space, then the policies would be in place that are really favourable to landlords.
Yeah, but if you've got a ministerial table and a third of them have a dog in the race, at least, whatever the reality, the perception's not fantastic. And you could also say, well, there's not much. It doesn't seem to be much happening to fix the health service. But then I would say an awful lot of politicians have private health insurance. The heads of the HSE don't trust the health service. They have got their own private. So a lot of it's about perception.
I think it's more to do with the optics of the situation, in terms of like. When they have a dog on the race, as Greg says, it's very hard. It's very easy for people. Sorry, go on.
They're not having the influence on, so if we go back to the salient point that's being made, which is that TDs are, some of them are landlords, they haven't actually affected massive change in favour of landlords. So it kind of lies, that's the corollary of the
but I mean, the situation is so bad for landlords that the amount of TDs that landlords have gone down from about 38 to 26 or 7, and now all of a sudden we're doing things to try and make sure we don't lose any more landlords. But as I say, it's probably perception and optics. I'm chomping at the bit here to get Brendan in. Brendan, come on.
Sorry.
Sort this out. No, it's not. No, it's lovely. It's brilliant. I just want him to sort it all out for us.
The first thing I would have to say, as a result of the change in the eviction ban, there's 3,000 families potentially that would be either listening to this or around the country that are fearful of their future. But there's also 11,500 people of this country already homeless. We have an incredibly broken system. And we have gone from a country in the noughties that could build 60,000 houses a year to a country that can't build any houses now. And when you have a system that's incredibly broken like what we have, then radical decisions have to be made. Now, the eviction ban, in fairness, is a matter of serious concern for those that are renting. We appreciate that. Now, we also have to be mindful that the eviction ban was a temporary arrangement, and that's at most that it could be. Now, there are those that are trying to reinvent the reason why it was put in the belief that in the 3 to 5 months that it was there, that we could somehow solve the housing crisis. We are now in a housing crisis that will be with us for the next 5 to 10 years. That's the reality. And what I'm very disappointed about is how the government are not using the toolkits that are available to them to develop, to accelerate the rate of housing provision.
Such as what? Modular homes. Okay, go ahead. Yep. I was going to look for examples. Yep.
And I was watching the debate last night on Question Time in the UK. They are years ahead of us in what they're going to provide in modular homes. Here we are with a deficit of 200,000 houses, thinking that we're going to deliver that through conventional means of developer-led, maybe local authority-led. We're fooling ourselves. And yet, if you look at the toolkit, that I was on a local authority, you have emergency powers that invest with the county managers for accommodation provision. Usually it's used for traveller accommodation. There's nothing preventing that to be used for ordinary accommodation. And we have a government that's still funneling all their energy to conventional build. You will not get the rate of build through conventional means to tackle this housing problem. And the debate, if you look at it, in preparation for this here today, I watched the Taoiseach on the Dáil on Tuesday, the Taoiseach yesterday, and we're not in the right space for debate here. We are a country that is a crisis. In the 80s, we lost our young people because there's no jobs. We're losing our young people now, and they're emigrating to other countries because there's no housing. We need to have a fundamental debate, and it needs to be treated as a national emergency.
Yeah, so in other words, what you're saying is that almost a cross-party acceptance of the situation, and that this is not about what you're doing in government now, what we might do if we're in government, but treated as an actual emergency, like we saw with the emergency in health, for example. Is that what you're saying, Brendan?
Exactly. And when I did an assessment from an apolitical basis of the debate on Tuesday and Wednesday in Dáil, I was very disillusioned because the government are doing what governments do, the opposition are doing what opposition do. Yeah. Meanwhile, the problem is there. And the problem is getting very bad and it's getting worse by the day. And until we get into a space and a mindset that this is going to take extraordinary measures in order to deal with the crisis, it's not going to get any better.
And I agree with you because, there's always going to be an element of the population that will experience travel or go work abroad. But I'm sick and tired of seeing mums and dads saying tearful goodbyes that they don't want to on social media, but they're having to, and they're having to advise their children to leave because they believe that's how they have the best options. Eamon, I mean, Brendan's hitting a very important point there, isn't it? It's not just, which is incredibly important, the 12,000 homeless and the many more that are couch surfers and all that, but aren't caught in the figures. It's really the state of the country as a whole.
Yeah, and I get that. I actually had this conversation at the weekend about, people we've seemed to, out the back of the last major recession, we lost a generation, and we seem to be heading that route again. There's a lot of people heading away, and housing is probably a big issue amongst young people that are heading away. And there's a lot of options. Do we talk about changing the culture in terms of where house ownership is seen as, there's a lot of places on the continent that rental is accepted, but you see the thing, I think, when we discuss that, Eamon, not you and I, but the country does, then you have to say, right, that's fine, but then what do we do when people hit retirement or get to a certain age? How will they be able to afford to continue to pay rent? And if we're gonna, and I agree with you, that, but we should be having conversations rather than just being reactive, be proactive in terms of, do we have to change the culture here? What do we need to, in terms of modular homes, in terms of whatever? Now we have to reframe the argument, because if we keep hitting our head off the wall here, like we're failing in health because we just keep going around in circles. We're failing in housing because we keep going around in circles. So we need to kind of step off the track here and reframe the argument, and reframe the terms of how we look at it.
Yeah, but it's kind of depressing, that, isn't it, Catherine? I mean, you were when you, in your time in politics, I mean, obviously there's certain things you can influence, and we can sort of mess around the ends and all that, but the big fundamental problems that have been hit on by Brendan and Eamon there, I don't see any pathway to a resolution, really, because I don't know if our political system is set up in a way to affect meaningful change.
And that's quite a potentially deep conversation about how our political system is set up. How we have proportional representation. So, there is a need for politicians to sometimes be all things to all people, so that they remain in a job. And you can get into a very deep argument about that. But I want to go back to something about that Brendan said about, and I'm very impressed with the way Brendan approached his thinking on this, and how he studied it during the week, and the conclusions that he's come to, because with Sláinte Care in the health area, there's an effort there for it to be cross-party. And I was actually, as it happens, at an event on a property business kind of thing last night in Dublin. And the one thing that a man contributed to the conversation, who's been in the business for 50 years, was that there needs to be a cross-party approach to this. And the Punch and Judy stuff, it really gets nobody anywhere, only it kind of maybe gets people more upset about it than they are already. So I mean, as you said quite rightly, Greg, the opposition do what the opposition do, and the government do what the government do, and that's the system. So it's really to move above that and to realize that, in a way, this needs to be approached like nearly wartime, an emergency response. That and there are efforts being made that are significant, but I think the way it plays out on the national airwaves sometimes it's counterproductive.
Yeah, Brendan.
Well, what's lacking, as I see it, is political leadership on this issue. We're going to have to, in terms of this problem, and it's unprecedented in scale. When did we ever think we have a housing crisis of potentially 200,000 houses needed? And if we're going to stay on the trajectory that we are, which is conventional means of delivery, it's not going to happen. And I can't understand why Minister Darragh O'Brien, hasn't pushed harder in terms of modular homes. All of Europe is doing it. And perhaps there's a misconception of what a modular home is.
Well, is it possible? Let me just throw this out there, right? Because some people will be listening and say, is it possible that contractors in the business of pouring concrete and breeze blocks and what have you, that perhaps have really good access in terms of lobbying, are saying, well, hold on a second, we can't really switch to modular home building. There's other people doing that. We can't approach things the same way. Could we have people within construction, for example, lobbying against such a move?
It's unlikely, and from what I've gathered, what's lacking here is political direction. There's going to be no one fixed solution to this. We need to approach this from a multi-aspect point of view, where we provide houses through conventional means. There's a time delay there. Best will in the world, you're talking 12 to 15 months per unit. Modular homes, if it's properly organised with the right incentives in place, you can deliver in 6 to 10 weeks.
What would you do about planning?
Planning, as I said, under the emergency powers of the chief executives or former county managers, I think there has to be a serious national debate that the power is now invested in the managers in locations where there's a critical housing need, that he grants it, and that will circumvent NIMBYism and all such things.
Catherine,
because that's a huge issue, actually. Sorry to cut across you, Greg, but that everybody wants housing, but when you talk about the reality of where the houses are going to go, people don't want them beside them.
Well, it's the same with wind farms, if we were to believe recent studies. But let me put it to you, and then I want to bring Amy in on this. We're hearing 60-odd school projects now are being deferred because of rising costs. Road projects, some question marks on them as well. A few healthcare centres aren't progressing as they should. Squabbles over contracts down the country or whatever it might be. It's the mood music doesn't sound great to me. Are we easing into a period of where we're not investing in things like schools, health centres, and dare I even say housing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the day-to-day reality of building has become very difficult for, those who are professionals in the area, as well as those who want to get the jobs done. So, I mean, I personally am involved with a project where the costs have gone up probably about 60% since we started out, and we're only talking about a fairly short period of time. And it's as though contractors are so busy that they give in a quote that if you go for it, it's a bonus, but they don't actually want the work.
They're pricing themselves out of the jobs.
Yeah, well, they're
setting a target whereby they couldn't say no, but they're happy to say no. Yeah,
exactly. And there's a lot of that going on, even with like Board Gosh is involved in this particular argument or this particular project. And the builder said, that basically it is because they don't want the job. And there's a bit of feck off in the quote, which that's a huge problem. And there's so much demand for people to do work. And I think that the whole the word broken has been used a few times this morning, and it seems a bit basic, but it definitely is quite broken, because how do you fix that?
Yeah.
What's the solution to that?
Well, Eamon,
it's going to affect schools. It's going to affect everything, because there's price gouging going on. And I said to somebody recently who's in the building game, prices will have to start to level off or come down. The simple phrase he said was, they won't, because too many people are making too much money.
Eamon, right back to the beginning before we take a break and move on. At the heart of all of this is the 12,000 people already homeless who the chances of them getting accommodation now will seem as far away as ever. People of all, I don't need to use the emotive scenarios, but we know people who need a roof over their heads not being able to get one. They're going to be chucked out. Landlords, I mean, I have sympathy for them, right? But they've got an asset they can liquidate at worst case scenario. Do you know what I mean? So my heart is not breaking in that regard. And then we're seeing a depopulation, I think, a lot from rural Ireland, as Brendan pointed out for the beginning. Like, it's when you take all the strands and they're all interconnected, we really need to start hearing from the powers that be some solutions here. They owe us that, and maybe us as a people need to stop listening to these pointless debates in the Dáil or on the radio and actually just wait for, actually, hold on a second, not interested in you scoring a punch, not interested in you get one over Pierce Doherty or over Micheál Martin. What we actually need is to stop your crap talk, with all due respect, and actually start giving us some solutions and some answers.
100%. Personally, from my own point of view with regards to housing, I think it should be a constitutional right for each person to have a roof over their head. Doesn't even have to be their own house. They should have a roof over their head. Now, that might be too far left of the spectrum economically to be for a lot of parties in this country, but that's where I personally come from. I accept that's hard to get to, but it just goes back to the point. This is a crisis. The word's broken, and how many times have we been using this over the year? The crisis, the system's broken, and people firing over back shots back and forth in the dial, and it's just no good to the people that are, that are sleeping rough through no fault of their own. So it's, I don't know, Greg, if we've come looking for solutions to this debate.
No, but I think it's what it is actually it's very useful in that we're all all of us. It's a reality check, and then we've got the strange situation whereby the council are out there currently bidding for houses to house refugees, and maybe people are saying, it's handier to do that because I can chuck them out whenever I like. It will cover some of the mortgage and I don't have the complication of rent. Like, I'm not even bringing that into the conversation, but that's how crazy the system is. Brendan, do you want a quick last word before the break?
Well, the reality is for the last decade, we're running at a housing deficit and there's an accumulative effect, and we see that. And I am going back to the same point. Conventional solutions are not going to work here. And this haphazard approach of the present government and the previous government has shown its results. It can't deliver houses by conventional means at the rate that's needed. And until we have a holistic approach here that brings in emergency measures, that pushes the boundary, and we're not good at that in this country. For some reason, we are not good at crisis management, but we need to get into that space immediately, because if we do not deal with housing, we are facing the highest level of unprecedented recession because of a housing need.
Yeah, I take exactly what you're saying, but we only have to look back a couple of years to when we treat something as an absolute emergency, all hands on deck, legislation passed in minutes. Go ahead, Eamon, when any of you come in as you see fit.
To throw out that figure again and emphasise the figure that Catherine's thrown out there in terms of 60% rise in costs, and how scary that is for, as you as a young person going out to build, or anybody dipping their toe into that market. And for me, that's terrifying.
And that's if you can get planning permission to build on your own property. Okay, stay right where you are. I think really interesting contributions as always from Catherine Noon, Eamon McGee and Brendan Byrne. Back with more from them in a moment.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagori Strabane, 2-course express menu, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Only $18.95. 7-day weekly a la carte menu, euro for pound. Now taking bookings for Mother's Day and Sunday Carvery, 2 courses only $15.95. Check out our party packages and great deals at Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagori Strabane.
Foy's biggest ever furniture sale is now on for a limited time only, with huge reductions on selected sofas, dining tables and chairs, beds and much more in Letterkenny, Ballybuffet and online at foys.ie. Designer collections include Lazy Boy, Sky, Italian and Caglia Italia. Now is the perfect chance to get that furniture you've had your eye on at Foy's, the Northwest's leading interiors, paint, curtain, blind and interior design specialists.
Wake up, wake up. It's Mattress Madness at Easy Living Furniture, with up to 50% off all mattresses, pillows and mattress protectors. With 0% interest-free finance available, now is the perfect time to gift yourself a better night's sleep with the mattress of your dreams. Speak to one of our sleep specialists today. Massive mattress sale now on, with all mattresses reduced in Easy Living Furniture. Presently retail park or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
How well do you know your mum? Find out with our fantastic Mother's Day celebrations at Foyleside Shopping Centre, Saturday 11th of March from 12 to 3 p.m. Enter our fun-filled quiz, How Well Do You Know Your Mum? Live with Jerry Labs, for your chance to win amazing prizes for your mum. See Foyleside Shopping Centre's Facebook page for details.
Are you building, moving or renovating in 2023? Think Irwin's Expert Electrical for all your home appliances, big and small. With all the top brands including Bosch, Samsung, LG, Neff and more. Secure your products now with a deposit until you're ready. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Now, Belong To, the organisation representing LGBT young people, has expressed disappointment at calls from the Catholic Primary Schools Management Association for children not to be taught about transgender issues. The CPSMA said teaching primary children what it means to be transgender would require to teach something about which there is neither a scientific nor social consensus to highly impressionable young children. Educating children about trans issues could help trans children feel safe and included in their school, said the chief executive. Now, Taoiseach Leo Varadkar's personally backed primary school students being offered education about what it means to be transgender, but with the caveat and the stressing of his opinion that a clear parental opt-out should also be offered, and that I think just to further flesh out what he said, he says, look, trans people exist. And in school, it's about learning, and you teach them that's the case, but you don't necessarily have to say whether it's not right or wrong, but you know what I mean, to sort of dig any deeper on that. This is an issue that is difficult to talk about. Everyone has opinions on it. Some have concerns, but don't go all the way in terms of the concerns that other people have. It's a complex one. It's a difficult one to talk about, sure, but we'll see how we get on. Catherine, would you be comfortable with transgenderism being talked about or taught in primary schools?
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. I mean, if we're to take guidance from a Catholic Church, nobody would be divorced. People would be in relationships that they weren't happy in, because that's Catholic teaching. We would still not allow, I mean, they still technically don't believe that gay people should have, relationships. I mean, it's interesting to start the conversation with the Catholic Church, and it's obviously a good starting point to the conversation. But I mean, what the Catholic Church think at this point should not dictate what's taught in school. In my opinion,
the reason why I did is because I think that an awful lot of parents, and it's another one whereby people perhaps don't want to speak publicly because they'd be seen as a bigot or something. I think there's an awful lot of people out there, I couldn't put a percentage on it, that would have applauded what that organisation has said. That's why I sort of,
yeah.
might not be...
No, by all means, and I completely understand. I mean, I'm not being critical of you introducing that into the conversation at all. I mean, I respect the premise of this conversation, but the Catholic Church, I mean, I'm Catholic, I identify as Catholic. I was very involved in the, I had, I suppose, a leadership role on the Eighth Amendment. And, I learned a lot about the human condition during that process. And, what really is very important to remember is that life is not black and white. And the sooner that you can teach children that there are nuances and difficulties and less easy paths that some people have in life, the better. And I think there's a fear that somehow if they know about transgenderism, they might become transgender,
But it's not necessarily that. But what about the concern that some may have that as you mature, right, that life is confusing. Your estrogen levels might peak, your testosterone levels might peak, they might sway backwards and forwards, okay? And in that point, you're looking for a hook to hang your hat on. Now, in the past, you just worked it through, right? What about parents' considerations that some might feel that you could be planting something into their minds? And again, and I want to reference the fact that we are living in a time now where it's never been more difficult for teenagers. Record levels of teenagers presenting with mental health issues, self-harm, and I don't think we've ever talked more about mental health and tried to care for our young people. So something what we're doing right now is not working. So is it possible that unless we get this right, we could be contributing perhaps to more mental health issues in teenagers as they get older? That's not my view. I'm just trying to represent things that I've heard out and about.
No, absolutely. And I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I can see why parents would be concerned. And it is a difficult one. Raising a child is a difficult thing. While it's easy enough in the sense that they need food and they need shelter and, joy in their life and love, it's not easy. And society, as you say, it has become very challenging, and there are a lot of mental health issues, as you say. And, there's a lot of statistics to back up the fact that transgender and homosexual children struggle at a greater degree. So it makes, that I presume that this whole conversation, has somehow emanated from the stuff that has gone on in the Midlands with Enoch Burke, and that's been on. We've been subjected to that on a daily basis. But if you think about the child who's at the centre of that, that's who I'd be concerned about. This is all a bit of a sideshow, bit of drama for it to be shown on RTE at the night time. And what's Enoch Burke up to now? And there's all sorts of T-shirts and crazy stuff up on social media about him. But at the heart of that is a child who's really struggling, and who every day is reminded of this struggle, but because of this. So I think education for children in general to be more accepting, but at the same time, there is a fine balance, at delicate stages, like you say, where, children are discovering their own sexuality.
Yeah, because in there somewhere, you have to teach children to recognise their own identity and to have resilience. But are we doing that? Or are we just throwing another ingredient in there and not really considering the potential implications, and afraid to do so because it might upset some people? But we'll come back to you. I want to bring Eamon in. Thanks, Catherine. No, please. I'm just want to make sure everyone comes in. Yours,
you can take this one, Catherine. We don't mind. Me and Brendan will just sit on the sidelines for this one.
Go on, Eamon. What do you think?
Actually, that's typical of even the debates on. Men are like, "Oh, I don't want to know," but
exactly.
Yeah.
Go on, Eamon. What's your view?
No, I think the question that was asked at the start is, in terms of for primary kids to be introduced to that. Now, I would again, like Catherine, take big issue with the Catholic Church lecturing us and anything in terms of what we teach our kids.
Okay, well, let's put that to one side.
Because, we'll put that to one side. But the question
pretend
is,
it was a different organisation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The question is, are we comfortable with introducing this to primary level kids? Now, I think we've got to introduce it at some stage. Now, in terms of how much do we open their eyes to this? What level are we taking them down to here? Because it's a new world. We've got to chat to them at some stage about homosexuality, about transgenderism, and despite what people want to say or put themselves in.
Can I just say one thing, just because both of you have said it? There is many people in the homosexual community, let me put it like that aren't actually fully comfortable with constantly being attached to transgenderism either.
Yes, and for me, I mean that could be another
debate, but that is, I think maybe straight people will, and there's no harm in it. I'm not saying either if you're doing anything wrong in doing so, but I just want to recognise the fact, because it's been said to me and I
agree. And
there's quite a cohort within the homosexual community as well as in the straight community that are not fully comfortable with constantly being. Not linked, because that sounds...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But the point I was trying to make in terms of an individual's sexuality is it's not black and white.
Yeah.
And we need to talk to our kids about this. The days of saying to our daughter, like, you're going to marry... You're going to have a boyfriend when you grow up. Your days they're saying to our son, you're just going to have a girlfriend when you grow up. We have to broaden their perspectives.
Do we, though?
But... for us just to limit them, and then they have these kind of conflicting emotions. Well, I'm supposed to stay in this lane here.
Yes, but we guide them in every way, right? We guide them in every way in life to make sure they don't cross the road or dangerously. They don't do that, and they look to us for us to take them by the hand in a certain way. Now, I'm not equating any decisions they might make in terms of who they are partnering with as to crossing the road, but. I presume, because we're told at an early stage you can see signs and maybe you can adapt how you speak to them at that point. But are we past the stage where we say to we joke with an 8 or 9 year old, have you got a boyfriend at school? Surely we can't. Do you know the way people do the teasing and all that?
No, I know, but it's how we're not. So we can still say stuff like that there, but we just can't limit them.
Okay. No, I get what you're saying, and the thing about this is, as you see, we're all in... I think a lot of this stuff really should actually be up to parents to teach. Now, what happens is a lot of parents don't teach, and we know that with the birds and the bees and the consequences of that. Brendan, I want to come back because this is developing nicely in terms of people's points of view, but I want Brendan's point of view on this one now as well.
the first thing I have to say is state the obvious. We have a tendency in this country for the last 15 years to burden teachers with more and more responsibilities. And the amount of work that has been transformed into teaching that's otherwise, as I see it, because the primary educators, and you correctly said it, the primary educators are children, are parents. The professional and principal educators are teachers. Now, as a parent, I would have severe difficulties in what exactly is being proposed here, because let's look at what we're talking about. We're talking about 4-year-olds to 12-year-olds. The Enoch Burke story is a secondary schools where you're talking about teenagers. So as a parent, I'm wondering, has a teacher a right to talk in terms of transgenderism or anything before my child has reached puberty or sexual maturity? That is the debate that we need to talk about. But we're talking in a vacuum because in actual fact, we're talking about transgenderism, and I appreciate and I respect the fact that we have to educate our children about that. And that's a moral responsibility on me as a parent and on us as a society. But what exactly are we talking about? What has brought us to this point is a Minister of State announced we're going to teach transgenderism and we're going to do it at primary school. I spoke to teachers and I asked them, what's that involved? Don't ask us.
Well, Brendan, before you continue that, see, this is another thing. I wonder how many parents of primary school children, actually know what their children are being taught about anything to do with sexuality. Like, how, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people are up in arms about this, and that's fine, and that's why we're talking about it. But I wonder, do they know what already is being spoken to their children about and how it's being spoken to them about?
Well, if they don't, they should. And it's a very simple way of finding out. You check the textbooks that the children have. You ask your child, well, what are you being taught? That discussion needs to be happening. I assume that discussion is happening. It certainly happened in my household. But, you know, we as a society get a headline, transgenderism has to be taught, and we all funnel into different types of arguments. You know, what are we talking about here?
Well, I don't think we've settled on that yet as a populace.
Well, I'm actually impressed this time around because I was following the commentary on social media, and I think you touched on it yourself, Greg, when the Catholic Managers Association issued their statement. It actually was very well received because usually, in fairness to that organisation, anything that they would say would be hammered. But on this occasion, it wasn't. So I think that reflects a genuine concern that there is out there. And I think we need to just park Catholic Church views because that's divisive. We all have our own views about that. Yeah,
I mean, it's an institution that's in flux and always has been. Yeah, because
it is much more deeper than that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't describe themselves as Catholic or straight or whatever it might be. Everyone has different points of views. Catherine.
It's like anything, I think, Greg, timing in life is everything. And I think the point about primary and secondary, I missed that nuance in the argument, to be honest. And I mean, it's a difficult one. And I mean, at the end of the day, when you were talking about resilience in children, you know, that's going to come from their home. And, you know, an awful lot of education is coming from the home. And really, our teaching of sex education over the years, especially in Catholic schools, has been quite conservative and limited. And there is a need to address that. And we covered a lot of that over a number of years when I was in politics, you know, in the whole women's rights area. And, you know, it's a very potentially broad debate. But at the crux of it, it's about timing and when it's appropriate, really, to start having these conversations.
Yeah, okay. But Eamon, like, parents are going to have to... go ahead, Catherine.
The nuns didn't show us our videos when I was in Mayo in school until 6th class, which is when you're just going into... Now, I actually don't know exactly what happens with kids now. We certainly didn't have a textbook.
Do you know, the only video I was shown in school was of an abortion, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah,
same as that.
Yeah, I didn't see anything to do with the birds and the bees. In the context of don't do it. This is what actually happens, and that's one of the strongest memories in my mind. Yes, Brendan.
Wouldn't it be more appropriate to be teaching about safe sex and, you know, I mean, anyway, listen, you get me on my hobby horse.
Yeah,
here, so.
Brendan.
I must have went to a very good primary school because
Sorry, it wasn't a primary school, it was a secondary school. I should point that out.
I went to a very small primary school in Carrick. We had 4 women teachers, and we were taught about all aspects of different religions and appreciation of different faiths and those that have none, and in terms of sexuality. And I'm talking about being a primary school pupil in the 1980s. So, of course, maybe what the argument here is there isn't consistency across the board.
And Eamon, too, you know, every action is a reaction. I'll say that again, because if you have an opt-out system, there's children going to be taken out of certain classes. It's going to look, it's going to cause a little bit of division. And parents and guardians are going to have to familiarise themselves with these conversations, because the young ones are going to come home and say, do you know what we talked about at school today? You know, and I am come from a household where in my house the word pregnant was a swear word. So, you know, like, everything was expecting or Yonway or whatever. I don't know, maybe that was referring to something else. I haven't a clue. It's a house full of women.
But the thing about it is a lot of parents are choosing. Now my kids will never have a phone till they're 21 now.
Oh, no, come on.
Do you know what, Catherine? I wouldn't be surprised.
A lot of parents are choosing to give their kids access to phones and all that goes with it. Now, they're going to get, once they have that phone in their hand, they're going to get access to the information that's not filtered, you know, and, you know, would we be better off get them in a safe environment and, you know, educate them in such a way that giving them the best tools to go into this big bad world.
I just think sometimes we could do some after school stuff whereby there's an after school class where we're going to be discussing this issue and this is how we're going to be discussing all of that, and take some of the stuff out of the
schools are designed, or my view for schools should be designed to help the child go into the world, be that education, be that life skills or
That's
whatever.
That's what Leo Varadkar said. I can't believe that you and Leo Varadkar are aligned. Okay, excellent stuff. Stay where you are.
Where Eamon is coming from.
Stay where you are. Deputy John McHugh, former Education Minister. We learnt this week almost 60 schools are being delayed. The construction projects are being delayed. Deputy McHugh, this is worrying, and a number of schools in Donegal on this list. What can we do about this?
Well, first of all, good morning, Greg. Good morning to your panel. You have a very formidable team there this morning. Good to see you all. Yeah, Greg, look, it's worrying, it's concerning, and that's why I raised it this week. Now, I'm confident there will be a solution, because there has to be a solution, because each one of these schools, both nationally and within the county, are within the 2016 to 2021 capital plan. And if that is the case, that was agreed to, that's enshrined. And it's the question I believe is, how do they get out of this hole that they've found themselves in? Yes, there'll be arguments around inflation and increased costs and all the different excuses of the day. But at the end of the day, a lot of money has been spent for the likes of Caramaistre and Moville Community School, and the likes of St. Eunan's is ready to go to tender. All the money going into design team, architects, planning, QS, all the preparatory work, planning stages. So it would be in the widest of sense.
Is this not what the rainy day fund is for? Things like this?
Yeah, I mean, look, the problem with funding, be it right through the public sector, is they work on a yearly basis. So they're given a figure for the year and they're trying to work within that figure. It's totally wrong. I think it's totally archaic. And when you have a situation when you have so many schools in this county that are now in the capital plan with great success stories, the likes of all those local contractors, Ponsonby and Glenswilly, Dorian's in Conkill, Letterkenny, and also Boyles up in St Mary's, and now they're in Little Angels. So they're working away, they're providing employment, but they also need certainty for the next stage. So there's plenty of schools there within the bundle, but it's about having more of a long-term approach rather than this year-to-year budget. But the department, they have to come up with the money, deeper, have to come up with a solution. And to the people and the parents and concerned parents, the likes of Caramaistre and Moville here today, I'm saying the government has no choice but to come up with a solution.
I mean, you've got the ear of the people making the decisions. Have they given you any positive indications that these projects will proceed as planned?
Well, look, I have the ear because I make it my business to reach out. I'm not part of the parliamentary party, so I don't have that close working relationship as I had previously, but I always make it my business to reach out to people, and I'm going to continue to annoy them on this issue because it's so important.
Thanks very much for your time. I appreciate you squeezing us in. That's former Minister of Education, Deputy Joe McHugh. Okay, I just wanted to get an update. That's when he was available. There's so much more we could talk about. I'd love another hour, but unfortunately time has caught up with us again. Catherine, thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it, and good luck with everything.
No worries.
Thanks for your time. Really do, as I say, appreciate it. Brendan, always a pleasure to hear your considered views. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Take care. And last but not least, Eamon, good stuff. Thanks very much indeed. And come here, 14's old enough for a phone, isn't it?
14?
Yeah. It's a compromise. All right, 21 it is. Good luck. Take care.
I'll come back to you when my wee one's 14, so you probably have the phone all right there.
All right, listen, come here. You're doing a great job nonetheless. Thank you so much indeed. Eamon McGee there. Right, let's take a break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Do you have training requirements within your company? SafeTech are running a number of part-funded programs, including electro and butt fusion welding, first aid, water hygiene, company safety officer, confined spaces, food hygiene, construction site supervisor, various plant UK construction cards, and much more. Contact SafeTech today on safetech.ie.
Every night can be steak night with M&S. Choose from a selection of succulent Irish steaks, plus a delicious side like chunky chips, and top it off with your favourite sauce. All for just €15, making any night in for two feel that little bit more special. Available in store now. This is not just dine-in. This is the home of dine-in from M&S.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town. And we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
Lancome's bonus time promotion is back at McElhenny's. Simply purchase 2 Lancome products, 1 to be skincare, to receive a free gift of 7 beauty essentials. Plus, when you purchase a 3rd Lancome product, receive a full-size bonus gift. Visit us in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com to enjoy this exclusive offer, available until March 11th.
We at Highland Radio love Irish music, and we want to show our support. Throughout Irish Music Month this March, in partnership with Hot Press Magazine, we're asking you to support the Irish musicians, artists and bands who make every party, every drive home and every day magic. That's right. To celebrate Irish Music Month on Highland Radio, we're asking you to support Irish artists and musicians by buying Irish albums, Irish tickets, Irish t-shirts and Irish music merch. Irish musicians have shown that they are right up there with the best in the world, so let's support them by buying Irish. Proudly supported by Highland Radio, Hot Press, IBI and the BAI Sound and Vision Fund.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Over time, it's natural for your hearing not to be as clear as it once was. The good news is, advances in hearing aid technology may offer different solutions. Sabrina Robb here from Donegal Hearing Clinic. We provide peace of mind with hearing issues that affect people of all ages. Contact us for a consultation at Donegal Hearing Clinic on 07491 88470 or visit donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Final call for entry to the .ie Digital Town Awards, celebrating the digital achievements of towns and communities across Ireland with a €100,000 prize fund. Enter by March 10th at weare.ie.
Choose life. Choose fun.
Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better, something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 3rd. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 3rd to 19th March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
Show the Monday Blues the door. Kick them into touch. Banish them for good. With a wee treat at Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny. Maybe a coffee and scone, or an all-day breakfast, or a burger and chip. With American-style booth seating, fast and friendly service, a menu packed with tasty choices at great value, and loads of parking, it's a great stop-off any day of the week. Take back your Mondays at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Fancy a European city break this summer? Discover the beautiful cities of Barcelona, Cologne and Milan with Ryanair. 6 flights a week for summer 2023. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
So any remaining rain, sleet and snow will clear early this morning, leaving a cold and dry day with sunny spells. There'll be isolated showers of rain and sleet along northern coasts in the afternoon and evening. Daytime temperatures 4 to 6 degrees and a light breeze. We'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after the news and obituary notices.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A former Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council says the housing crisis will not be resolved until we have a real debate in this country which recognises the fact that we're in a crisis situation that demands a special response. On today's 9 till noon show, Brendan Byrne said one of the problems at the moment is that government is doing what governments do and the opposition is doing what oppositions do. He says unless we go beyond that, this crisis will not be resolved.
You will not get the rate of build through conventional means to tackle this housing problem. I watched the Taoiseach on the Dáil on Tuesday, the Taoiseach yesterday, and we're not in the right space for debate here. We are a country that is a crisis. You know, in the 80s, we lost our young people because there's no jobs. We're losing our young people now, and they're emigrating to other countries because there's no housing.
A Donegal deputy has questioned why the government continues to sit on its rainy day fund while school construction is put on hold. A rise in construction costs has been cited by government as the reason why 58 projects nationwide have been stalled, around 14 of them in Donegal. The rainy day fund currently has a balance of €6 million. Deputy Thomas Pringle says funding must be found to ensure these projects are delivered.
I wonder really what is the motivation behind this and the department doing this. And we won't know we probably won't know at all, I suppose, because the department won't tell us. But I think there is funding there is money available. The department and the Department of Finance needs to get their act together and make sure that these projects go ahead.
Serious questions are being raised as it submerged. The Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service was tasked to Donegal on 93 occasions last year. Latest figures from Donegal County Council revealed the Donegal Fire Service was mobilised 935 times during 2022 and dealt with a total of 827 incidents. Councillor Martin McDermott is seeking clarity as to what has led to the high volume of calls being responded to by the fire service in the north. He says if a lack of resources in Donegal is to blame, then urgent action must be taken.
That's something that we really need a very, very quick answer on, because what we're depending on here is life and death. In those situations, there can't be anything left not dealt with, and this is one of those situations where I think that we need an answer extremely quickly. We need to know exactly why the Northern Ireland Fire Service has been called to facilitate our service so many times, whether it's a gap or whether we need more services. I think that needs to be determined and it needs to be sorted out very, very quickly.
A woman has been injured after being assaulted at a residence in Bundoran last night. Investigations into the attack on the woman in her 30s, which occurred at around 11:30, are continuing. She was brought to hospital for treatment to what's been described as non-life-threatening injuries. A woman in her 30s was later arrested and is due to appear in court later. A post-mortem is taking place this morning on the body of a man following a fatal assault in County Cavan yesterday. A man in his 30s, detained on suspicion of murder, remains in Garda custody. With more, here's Barry White.
Gardaí attended the scene at an apartment in Blacklion in County Cavan yesterday morning after a man was found unresponsive with serious head injuries. The victim, a man in his 50s, was later pronounced dead by paramedics. His body was removed to the mortuary in Navan, County Meath, where the post-mortem will be carried out later today. During follow-up investigations yesterday, a man in his 30s was arrested on suspicion of murder. He's been questioned at Castlereagh Garda Station in County Roscommon. It's understood the victim and the arrested man are well known to each other.
A scam is targeting over 55s seeking investment of €20,000 or more. Fraudsters are using brochures with the names and branding of well-recognised legitimate bonds and investment schemes. The Banking and Payments Federation of Ireland says they're making contact online as well as via cold calling and text messages. A status yellow ice warning remains in place in Donegal until midday. While snowfall was less than expected in many parts of the county yesterday, icy conditions have led to hazardous driving conditions this morning, and motorists are being urged to continue taking care on the roads. And looking at the weather forecast for today, it'll be cold and dry with sunny spells, isolated showers of rain and sleet in the afternoon and evening, with top temperatures today 4 to 6 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Friday morning, March the 10th. The death has taken place of Patrick Paddy Doohan of Hampstead Court, Glasnevin, County Dublin, and formerly of Kern Sport, Gorta Hork. His remains will be reposing at the home of his sister Rita Lafferty, Kildare, Dunfanaghy, County Donegal, from 11 o'clock this morning. Funeral Mass in Christ the King Church, Gorta Hork, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on mcmmedia.tv. The death has taken place of Lorraine Long, née Aiken, Mullinty Boyd, Glenties, County Donegal, and formerly Sreenty, Corduff, Carrickmacross, County Monaghan. House strictly private, please. Funeral service on Sunday afternoon in Core Valley Presbyterian Church at 2 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Carrickmaclim burial grounds. Family flowers only. Donations in memory of Lorraine, if so desired, to Wood School Ardra, care of Conley Funeral Directors or any family member. The death has occurred of Rose Dennerly, née Freel, Cheshire, England, and formerly of Ballure, Fanad. Rose's remains will repose at Mulroy Bayview, Kindrum, Fanad, from 6:30 until 10:30 this evening, with rosary at 8 o'clock. House private, please, from 10:30 until 9:30. Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Mass Mount, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on the St Mary's Fanavolti and St Columba's Mass Mount Facebook page. The death has taken place of Joe Rush, Ballybun, Castlefin, reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Castlefin at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Donegal Hospice, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via Ernie Castlefin Parish Facebook page. And the death has occurred of Marie O'Donnell, Onyban, Main Street, Dunlow, reposing at her home today from 2 o'clock, with rosary at 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Cronus Church, Dunlow, with interment afterwards in Arnmore Island. Family flowers only. Donations if desired to the Dunlow Hospital, care of any family member or Sean McGlynn, Funeral Director. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Good morning if you're just joining us. If you have only just joined us, I think you missed what many would have found a very interesting contribution from Brendan, Eamon and Catherine in our first hour. Some of your comments as they've come in here. My child is 10 and a classmate that was a girl now wants to be a boy, and the children in class have no problems and have accepted it. Hasn't fazed them at all. And I've referenced something very similar to that in the past, in that a lot of adults or people of a certain generation were having a conversation as if, you know, well, what are we going to do? Panic stations. And yet it's very comfortable with different types of language in schools. No pushback against different pronouns amongst young people for the most part. That's not, of course, the same necessarily as our conversation about teaching things in primary school, but young people are already ahead of all of this whilst many others are going, we can't have that, but it's already happening in lots of schools, and I know that from my own experiences. This government chose to announce during Seachtain na Gaeilge a reduction in the amount of time to be spent on Irish and religion in primary schools in favour of teaching European languages. Then again, should we expect anything better from government ministers that would prefer to spend St Patrick's Day outside the country when our young people are forced to emigrate and would give anything to be home on our national day? Transgenderism and homosexuality are not the same at all. One is attraction to the opposite sex. Trans is when the person is confused about their own identity. They describe it as identity dysphoria. That's not how trans people and the supporters would see it. I'm surprised that the feminists are not up in arms about this. Do they not see the results worldwide? Just look at the women's sports. The biological female have all lost out to male or being sent to women prisons, and what happened in there. We need to take a pause here and actually think of the children, not to be confused. There's a few things going on at the moment. The whole trans people in sport, that's an ongoing conversation at the moment. There's one case of a particular that's caught a lot of attention, of a man who identified as a woman, went into a woman's prison and committed a sexual assault in there. They've since been moved to a prison. I mean, it's not happening up and down this country. We do know, we spoke to representatives of Women's GEA concerned of women who were born male having a physical advantage and the dangers of that. We're having this conversation now live. I think I don't think we're going to get anywhere on this issue or any other issue if we accuse people who have concerns of being, anti this or anti that. Let's talk about our concerns. Also, people who don't accept that someone can identify as a different sex as to which that they were born, or a different gender, to accuse them of having a mental illness or this, that and the other. Either way, that type of throwing from one side to the other is not going to really get us anywhere, and it's not good for the children either. What we need to do is have civilised debate, tease it out what's acceptable, what is not, what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, and the adults in the room, rather than insulting each other or being pitched on two polarised points, converse, and let's truly, all of us, on this issue, on all the other issues, actually put the children first, not our views. That's all I would say, because, I mean, as I said during the week, we were talking about this issue, and I had one public and a couple of DMs of people from different sides of the argument, using, I don't care, but using really foul and abusive language towards me and saying that I'm this, that and the other. What does that, as I say, it doesn't bother me, but what did it achieve? We're not going to get anywhere on this issue or any of the issues for that matter. A caller says there are far more important subjects in schools which need to be taught. Religion and sex education should be left to the parents at home. Then, if you want your children to have this knowledge, you do it. The problem is that a lot of parents may not have any of these conversations at home for a number of reasons. They might not be comfortable with it themselves. And then what happens is that the young people head into their teenage years, and it can cause all sorts of problems. I don't personally, for me, I'm not sure it's up to teachers. I mean, let's not forget now, there are going to be teachers with all different points of views on a very divisive subject that are going to be asked to potentially teach on it. That's a lot to ask of teachers, certainly. It's just going to cause another problem. Caller says most children leaving school can just about read and write. Many need far more support in these fields. Let's focus on these issues. Indeed, and there's hundreds and hundreds of children in this county alone that are seeking additional supports just to be able to go into school and to be integrated and learn and have the best outcomes. And it's got nothing to do with these divisive topics that dominate so much of the conversation. Greg, I'm disappointed with your choice of Catholic bashing panel. That is fine, but firstly, I suggested I don't want to get into the Catholic bashing, right? So I hope you recognise us as let's take that out of it. And also, you would have heard Brendan saying along the similar lines that this is not necessarily about the Catholic Church. So there was balance there. All we can do is offer you balance. So I and Brendan both said, look at, obviously two other of the panellists have strong views about the Catholic Church, perfectly entitled to them, but that's not what the conversation we're having today. So we moved past that quite quickly, I think. But they go on to say parents' constitutional rights and choices regarding the education of their children must be respected. Brendan seems to be the only respectful voice with any common sense. This is not a topic for primary school classes. It's not even suitable, in my opinion, for 12 to 15-year-olds. Puberty itself can cause anxiety in some youngsters, and parents and medical personnel should be the ones to navigate their children through these issues, not publicly in a full classroom. The consensus seems to be if science doesn't match your agenda, just twist and lie for long enough and the herd will fall into line. Science doesn't cover everything, though. And I'm constantly, all of a sudden, everyone's debating everything on the basis of science. But if enough people feel what they feel themselves, right, and they're prepared to spend their entire life with that feeling because that makes them feel who they are, I'm not sure really science is ever going to cover that because we're talking about people. Hi, Greg. Right, we'll come back to that one. Absolutely agree with Brendan. Where does the extracurricular teaching stop? My goodness, can parents not bring up their children anymore? It's not our job and our role to educate our children and pass on our values and beliefs. It seems if you don't follow the narrative, you are excommunicated. Teach our children to respect each other, but we don't necessarily have to agree with everything. I agree with Greg. After school classes, perhaps in partnership with parents. If it's controversial, if it's going to cause a problem for parents, if it's going to cause a problem for students, if it's going to cause a problem for teachers, let's have a conversation about, let's take some of those after-school classes or Sunday school or whatever it might be called and opt into it. So if you're a parent that has difficulties discussing certain things with your children and you know what's going to be discussed at a certain class, right, you say, right, this doesn't really go against the belief system I've given to my child, which is what we do really, I suppose, but it will help them and educate them, and maybe it's a conversation that I'm not comfortably having. Well, that's good. That's the option, isn't it? Why do something that's upsetting to some people? Children have all different levels of maturity. Boys aren't as mature as girls. Is that being taken into consideration? You know, all of those type of factors need to be thought on. Eamon McGee said his kids will be 21 before they get a mobile phone. I will ask again when they're 14 and start secondary school. Eamon, like the rest of us, will give into peer pressure, and he'll be lucky if his child gets to 14 with no phone. Today is more about safety, and I think Eamon, with a wink, is acknowledging exactly what you're saying. That's what he hopes, and that's why he exaggerated it to 21. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't like to try and refuse a 10-year-old a phone or an 8 or a 9-year-old now, because all their peers have them. They're all on TikTok. That's not all, but you know what I mean, a lot of them. So you could have your 8, 9, 10-year-old in a classroom where the majority of children are on their phones. You know, it comes at you far quicker than 14 anyway. Okay. Right, we're going to get a break out the way because we have the bingos coming on the way, bingo numbers. There's more coming in on other issues about roads and what have you. The roads around Killay at St Johnstone are very hazardous. Can you ask the council what's going on? An absolute disgrace. Well warned in the forecasts that they believe Donegal Cocoa were a joke. Hi, Greg. Out and about this morning on the roads. They're an absolute disgrace. Is the county council putting any salt on the roads at all? Only in Ireland would you see this. They can do nothing right. Are you talking about snow on the roads, though? Because, to be honest with you, gritting and salt has very little impact on snow. It's great for melting some ice and black ice, but even if that is melted or not, gritting is not going to make much of a difference on snow. If snow is the issue that you're talking of here, it will have some impact, but if there's another fall of snow, it has a one hit, you know, it doesn't sit on the road. So if they go out, and I hope I'm not doing the roads crews a disservice, but if they go out and grit and salt the road at 6, melts the ice, frost, whatever it might be, and then it snows, that salt and grit's finished with. It doesn't really have any meaningful impact thereafter. And there's no, as far as I'm aware, in terms of what you can spread out the back of a lorry, there's not an awful lot you could do if it's snow we're talking about. Now, if you're saying there's black ice on the roads and it's on a gritting route, well, we need to talk about that, but let us know. 086 60 25, 086 25,000. Clonmany to Buncrana, roads bad, we're told. Roads bad here in Dumfries. Buncrana, car off the road. Thank you for that information, and I hope the person didn't get too bad a shock. And it would be a shock. What a way to start your Friday. And is there another one on the roads? No, the rest of the schools and stuff. So I'll come back to them separately rather than grouping them all in. Okay. 086 60 25,000. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, and in between this ad break, you'll get the bingo numbers.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
It's pizza night, and if it isn't, it really should be. With an M&S hand-stretched, stone-ground pizza, a choice of topping plus an indulgent side, all for €8. You can't top a great pizza. Well, you can, but we've already done it for you. Available in-store now. This is not just dine-in. This is the home of dine-in from M&S.
The Donegal branch of Diabetes Ireland will resume their annual Churchgate collections this weekend, Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th of March, throughout Donegal. Any contribution will be greatly appreciated.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Wake up, wake up. It's Mattress Madness at Easy Living Furniture with up to 50% off all mattresses, pillows and mattress protectors. With 0% interest-free finance available, now is the perfect time to gift yourself a better night's sleep with the mattress of your dreams. Speak to one of our sleep specialists today. Massive mattress sale now on with all mattresses reduced in Easy Living Furniture. Presently retail park or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
The Clanry Hotel Letterkenny present Kjol, Ireland's newest folk band, with a passion for reviving traditional music. Live on Saturday the 18th of March. Tickets priced €25 are available from reception or pay at the door. And from Friday the 24th to Sunday the 26th of March, Clanry goes country with the Clanry Country Weekend. Overnight packages available. Call the Clanry Hotel on 9124 369.
At Cooney's Home Interiors, we pride ourselves on offering you the very best in choice, quality and value on all home furnishings. Treat your home with a visit to Cooney's today and choose from our large range of suites, tables, beds, not to mention our large selection of home accessories. Our motto is, if you see it, you can buy it, and we will deliver it to your door. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Style and perfection at incredible value.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love. 2. Great special offers like selected medium Cadbury and Nestle Easter eggs, any 4 for €4. Exclusive to Real Rewards members only. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. So, follow the 1, 2, 3 and save money at Super Value. T's and C's apply.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 10th of March. You're playing on the yellow sheet. The reference number is S10. It's game number 10. The numbers are 14, 2, 84, 55, 65, 45, 77, 13, 73, and finally 67. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
Letterkenny Medics is a new private clinic open on the Port Road, Letterkenny. Dr. Mohammed El Brea and Dr. Ripu Singh are offering daily appointments from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days per week, with services including full cardiac screening, weight loss and health checkups. minor injuries, minor surgical procedures, joint injections and chronic pain management with full medical consultations up to 30 minutes. To book your appointment, go to letterkennymedics.ie. Letterkenny Medics. We listen if you want to talk.
Attention all pet lovers and owners. Gary's Pet World Letterkenny is open 7 days per week, offering the very best value on all pet foods, accessories, grooming and care products. Call in and let our staff help you spoil your pet today. You will be amazed by the range of product for all pets, with exceptional value on all leading brands. Alternatively, you can browse and buy online at petworld.ie and we will deliver to your home.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Okay, coming up very shortly, we've got an exciting announcement of a new competition here on Highland Radio. But in the meantime, let's welcome onto the programme Claire Irwin, who's a quantity surveyor. Claire, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you on the programme. Right, okay. We've received confirmation now that defective concrete block homeowners can obtain the SEAI grant funding under the same criteria as other homeowners. So what was the differentiation before we got this clarity, and what does this mean going forward, Claire?
So prior to this announcement this week, homeowners who were removing the outer leaf of their building and renovating their existing home, who were not demolishing their house, they were allowed to avail of the SEAI grant funding. And that's the same terms and conditions as any homeowner, including a homeowner that does not have a defective block. That's a criteria, so they can access these grants if their house is built prior to 2011. Now, last March in 2022, Darragh O'Brien announced that homeowners who are demolishing their homes could then obtain the SEAI grant funding, which was a great difference to the entire scheme. Now, this week, it's just been clarified. So, unfortunately, it's only the homes that are built prior to 2011. We have to stick the criteria as, homes that don't have defective blocks. So, any home built prior to 2011 can access the SEAI grant funding, which is fantastic. So, essentially, what that means is that homes built in that era could access up to perhaps €35,000 in addition to the MECA redress grant funding. Homes built after 2011, unfortunately, cannot access the SEAI grant funding.
So if you had defective concrete post 2011 and you had to demolish and rebuild, you can't apply for this grant still?
You can only apply then for anything that's renewable. So the SEAI's criteria is that renewable grants are available to homes built prior to 2021. So in that instance, you can't go through a one-stop shop or an energy provider to do essentially a deep retrofit to your home. But what you can avail of is €6,500 for a heat pump, up to €2,400 for PV panels on your roof. So you're limited to those two options, unfortunately.
But what this means then, and it's not done after you've rebuilt, it's as you are planning your rebuild, presumably, you can apply for these grants and get an additional 20 to 30,000 euro to bring your property up to standard. So it's all done in the process as you build. You're not having to build a house to an old standard and then retrofit a new build. You can.
Yeah.
I know it sounds complicated, but I just want to. It sounds complicated.
Yeah. So to clarify, if you were knocking down your house and rebuilding it, essentially you could avail of the SEAI grants and use that money to increase the depth of insulation on your floor, your walls. You could change to triple glazed windows and put in a renewable source of heating. So the redress scheme allows for rebuilding your house to pre-2008 building standards, which essentially means that you're building it with lesser insulation, normally an oil central heating, whereas now with these new grants, you can use a renewable technology such as a heat pump or a geothermal heat pump PV panels in your roof and triple glazed windows and adequate ventilation through it.
I mean, there's no point going back over that argument, but can you imagine with the Greens in government as well, them okaying a scheme that effectively allowed people to rebuild a house to 15-year-old standards. It's anyway, but that's the decision they made, and it's really unfortunate, because if you or I were building a brand new house today and just applying for planning permission, we wouldn't be allowed to build to pre-2008. So it doesn't really make sense. No, that you could have 20,000 new stock houses, brand new houses built to 2008 standards. Like, it's
completely, and it's counterproductive to the Ireland's climate action plan to be building houses to pre-2008. But anyway, it's unfortunate, but it's a brilliant news story for anybody who has home that was built prior to 2011, because essentially you can obtain up to about €35,000, depending on how far you go with your renewable technologies. You can obtain that on top of your MECA redress. Now, if you're in receipt of certain benefits from the government, you can actually get a further top up. So if you're on a disability allowance, a pensioner, a work and family benefit, your SEI grant funding can be topped up to close to 46,000
And will people get more value for that in their actually spending that money on a more modern way of doing it rather than retrospective? In other words, if I were to do it on my house, I have to take windows out. I'd have to do old windows out, and that's more work and more cost. Like, are people in a new build process going to get more bang for the buck from the 35 grand than someone retrofitting might?
Absolutely. You're reconstructing your new walls now, so it's more practical, and it makes sense to install ventilation onto the walls now while the building works are going ahead. Install your triple glazed windows now, put in the pipe work for your underfloor or your air to water heating system. Incorporate all of those elements into the build right now. To do it retrospectively just wouldn't make sense.
Okay, that's good. That means that they're getting better value for money. We've seen revised building costs published in the last couple of weeks. You've had a chance to look at them. Are they reflective of the reality of building at the moment, if you can actually find someone to do the work for you? So I was one of the chartered surveyors who repriced those 8 house types for the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland this year and last year, and those rates are 100% reflective of what it would cost to rebuild the houses to pre-2008 standards, and I can't emphasise that enough. We had a specific terms of reference to adhere to from the Housing Department as members of the SCSI. And that was basically that we weren't taking into account to install brand new foundations. So we were reusing foundations. We were building, we had to price to build houses in traditional block built, slate roof, concrete floor, timber intermediate floors. It was oil burners for central heating, standard radiators, standard electrics. We did not take in salvage of materials into account, and the house was built essentially to pre-2008 building Did it
standards.
feel a bit weird, a group of professionals like yourself being mandated or charged with costing something to old standards, 15-year-old standards? It must have felt a bit strange in that room.
It was very strange, but if you read our report, we advise, our report's very, very detailed, and we clearly state that we advise people to build to today's building standards, and we are essentially just repricing this for the government for the purpose of this scheme. And it's very, very clear in our report that we recommend that people, if they can, rebuild right up to today's standards.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope as many do as possible. Now, that being said, trying to get through the system, all the paperwork, and still waiting on the new scheme, all the challenges are still there. But one box that has been ticked is that these grants, what we'd probably call them retrofit grants, but anyway, for as people rebuild, or if they're doing an out leaf, many people are going to be able to qualify for them, and we have that clarity where we didn't have that before. So as you described it, let's not forget it is a good news story.
It's a brilliant news story, yeah.
Okay, Claire, thanks very much for your time. I mean, do you have any insights through yourself, your own company, and chatting to people, are we seeing? Is there stuff that we're not hearing about? More houses that are seemingly affected by defective concrete. Are you seeing any trends? Anything on foundations or anything like that there that's coming from on the ground work that's not necessarily fully out in the public domain yet that you're happy to talk about?
There's a lot of apprehension about foundations and the retention of your foundations. People are nervous about rebuilding a house, and I think there's a lot more investigation required. It's if I was a Mica homeowner and I was rebuilding, I would be nervous, and everyone would prefer if they were completely demolishing and rebuilding. So there is a lot of nervousness out there about taking that route.
I suspect if it were you probably, if you could avoid it at all costs or at any cost, you probably wouldn't rebuild on the same foundations.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, which is your feeling. I'd feel the same, by the way. It's not necessarily a commentary on the wider issue. It's just what we'd do personally if we could. Okay, listen, Claire, thanks for that. Really informative. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. That is Claire Irwin there, who is a quantity surveyor. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts coming into us on that number, including these. Good morning, Greg. What's another few thousand homeless? This government doesn't care. They've gone out of their way to house non-nationals. They have no respect for the common people. An election is needed. Again, I know you're kind of having a shot at both the government and well, they are not non-nationals. They're non-Irish nationals. But the housing problem is there. And the accommodation that a lot of people coming into this country are going into is not accommodation that would actually fix the housing crisis either, or stop people being evicted from the homes they're currently in. But I understand where you're coming from, and no point for me to keep clarifying that. Hi, Greg. I heard emergency powers in terms of local authorities to provide traveller accommodation. There's been 58 million unspent. Travellers are 22 times more likely to be homeless than the general population. Indeed, I don't know what the recent figures are, but we weren't fantastic, if I remember correctly, in this county in drawing down that money. Hi, Greg. Reschool works. When my son started at St. Eunan's, we had a parents' meeting where they talked about the new school building. We thought it might be finished by the time he was in 5th year. He's leaving now in June, and they still haven't even started it. Hi, Greg. Will Maville Community College, promised a new building for years, be impacted by the government's news? Can Highland have a reporter visit the school and see the conditions the children and teachers have endured? And I'm very familiar with that. We covered it extensively. I have no problem going back to it, but I know how bad it is there because, as I say, I think we spent about a month talking about it, and we hoped there was a positive development in that regard. We are going to try and find out for sure what schools' projects are affected. I am from Hornhead, Dunfanaghy, and we've had no signage after 4 years of asking. Anytime I call the county council, they don't seem to have anyone to answer me. It's part of the Wild Atlantic Way, and there's little to no signage, which means any tourists that are going in that direction aren't getting to see the amazing views this place has to offer, as it's quite a confusing road for people that would not be familiar with this area. Is this the same road too, whereby signage is needed to direct people in which direction to go to save traffic jams and stuff? Because we've talked about that, if it's the same road on a number of occasions again. Yeah, indeed. Good morning, Greg. On the A5 road issue, there was land survey took place and pins put in the field in the year 2000 to build a carriageway from Manor to Strabane. Compulsory purchase of lands were to take place March 2001 to build the road. A few years ago, the pins were taken out again. Has this road went on the back burner? That was there's been a lot of collisions on that road this past 20 years. That is part of the 10T, isn't it? It makes total sense that these multi-million euro regeneration plans are on hold. Surely healthcare and rehoming the families and individuals affected by defective concrete blocks crisis is a priority. Can we not foster a sustainable attitude and use existing resources until priorities are sorted? Yeah, well, listen, that could be an argument to make if not building schools meant that there was more homes for homeless people and more homes for people who are in defective concrete homes. But that's not how it works. Not spending it in one area doesn't mean it's going to be spent in the other. The reason they're not spending it is because they probably feel they don't have it in the budget, so that doesn't mean it's available. Let's see here. For Matthew Bell, happy 18th birthday, Matthew. Coming in from Aoife, Kieran, Jack, Grace and Kate. And more of your comments to get through as we were on this morning. I think we're going to be graced with the presence of El Presidente, Fanula Rabbit, and she's going to be back in partnership with the Minion, not Minion, it's just like me. We're eating crumbs off the table. Not like the high-flying presidents of the chamber, Fanula Rabbit. She'll be joining us. If she's not wearing her chain, I'm going to be very disappointed. But that's entertainment. The band's back together, which I'm looking forward to after 11 o'clock. Coming up, we've live music for you as well. There's a choir in studio, or part of a choir. They're going to be singing live for us. It's the 9 to 5 musical, so we're going to have a sample of that. I actually love a bit of Dolly Parton. So that's coming up for you around about 11:30, so don't go anywhere. You'll enjoy the rest of this show. And very shortly, Sean and Emma's going to be in studio with us talking about a fantastic competition which is about to be launched.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate holiday loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
New trainers from your favourite brands at Brian McCormick Sports, Brooks, Asics, On Running and Hoka. New Hoka Clifton 9 has a wider toe box and it's softer, giving you that Hoka spongy feeling, making your run more responsive. Step into our safe size experience, have your feet measured and update your gait analysis. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny. Look the part, play the part on bmcsports.ie.
We can all see how conflict affects energy supply and prices. More than ever, we need to be mindful of how we use energy. By reducing your use, you can save money and lessen the impact. Here's how. Only heat your home to the temperature you need. Use appliances efficiently. And where possible, outside the peak hours of 4 to 7 p.m. Consider walking, cycling, or public transport for short journeys. Drive at lower speeds where safe to do so. Government advice and supports are available for homes and businesses to help you meet this challenge. Find out more at gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
Are you tired of how you feel? Despite diet and exercise, are you struggling to lose weight? Do you need help to achieve your weight loss goals? At Letterkenny Medics Private Clinic, we are offering a free consultation to ascertain if you are suitable for treatment on our weight management program. All consultations are confidential and completed by an experienced doctor. We are open 7 days per week from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to facilitate your needs. To book an appointment, go to letterkennymedics.ie. Letterkenny Medics. We listen if you want to talk.
Clarins Gift of Beauty promotion is now on McElhenney's. Purchase 2 or more Clarins products, one to be a moisturiser or serum, and receive a choice of 4 free beauty treats and a gorgeous beauty bag. Available until March 25th. 1 gift per customer while stocks last. Gift may vary.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
If I learned one thing in the last year, it's that falling into debt can happen to anyone. Luckily, I heard about the ISI, the Insolvency Service of Ireland. Their professional advisors can help you restructure or even write off your debt. The first thing they said to me was, every debt problem has a solution. I can still feel the relief. So if you're worried, visit their website backontrack.ie or free text Get Help to 50015.
The ISI. Together, we'll get you back on track. This is an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
At Very, we deliver everything you need and more, with over 70,000 products and free home delivery. Freshen up your family's wardrobe at prices you love. Get the very latest inspiration for your great outdoors. Level up your sports gear with the very biggest brands. With Very's choice across fashion, home, toys, gifts, beauty and electricals, you can choose the brands you love and we will deliver them for free. Shop now at very.ie. Free delivery excludes large items.
Farm entitlements values slashed. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
New cap changes are fueling the sale of entitlements. Shock new cow quota for young farmers and partnerships. Fears over new suckler scheme payment clawback. Hopes grow for sheep crisis support payment. Solar farm expansion squeezing land availability. Plus, find out if you're paying over the odds in the latest fertiliser price survey.
All inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Sleek, smooth, safe, modern. Oh, you want to hear more? Do you want to drive the most modern car in Donegal? There's a reason why it's our county's favourite car. The brand new diesel Kia Sportage, the multi-award-winning SUV, is available at iMotors now. Our team will take care of all of your needs. Visit imotors.ie or call in to us today, because how you feel when you drive is important to us.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect to 80 plus destinations worldwide, including Boston and New York. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, so sleet and snow will clear early this morning, leaving a cold and dry day with sunny spells. There'll be isolated showers of rain and sleet along northern coasts in the afternoon and evening. Daytime temperatures of 4 to 6 degrees. This current spell of bad weather is a reminder of how much we'd love to get away, wouldn't we? A lovely holiday to look forward to. Wouldn't that be nice? Sean joins us in studio, of course, head of sales. Sean, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
No. What about now? Good morning to you.
I'll have another good morning.
Loud and clear. And Emma McHugh, owner of Atlantic Travel Letterkenny. Emma, good morning.
Good morning, Greg.
We're going to speak to both of you, but what are we here to launch this morning, Sean?
Well, I just thought when I woke up this morning, spring was in the air, and I thought it'd be a great time, Friday, let's launch a competition.
Really? Well, what about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 days on social media
just
throughout the whole week?
People were wondering.
Is this a nice coincidence?
What is this all about? What is this all about? No, so we did it this time last year. And it was very, very successful. So we thought, why try and change things? Let's do exactly what we did last year, and so that's what we're here today to launch.
So it's not that you run out of ideas.
No, I've loads of those, loads of those. But I was always told, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it.
For sure. And you're right too, because it's a cracking price, Sean, isn't it?
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the great thing about it is it's a flexible price. It's not something that you have to go and purchase today. Your 10,000 is something that you can spread over the timeline that suits you. I suppose is important. And what Emma will allude to surely in a second is the opportunity of where you can go with this. And the added bonus is it's 10,000 euros of a travel voucher, but there's 5,000 spending money as well. So you've got the best of both worlds.
All right, so it's a 10,000. It's a 10,000 euro top prize. We'll talk about other things in a moment, and it's the same as last year. In other words, you could have, a number of you get a great holiday for 1,500 quid, for example, or you could do a Lapland and a Florida. Mm-hmm. That's really the type of. It's up to the scope. It's up to the listener who wins.
It's a dream opportunity that you can choose destinations you might normally not go to, or you might want to go and revisit again. But the win-win is if you've got the time, you've now got the money.
Right, okay, so go to highlandradio.com, click on Win a Holiday and answer a simple question. Then you choose your tickets. It's the same. The most you'll pay for a ticket is €10. It's one ticket for 10. Discounted, then, if you buy 6 for €50. Best value 10 for €80. And again, we don't need to remind you, you can get them for yourselves, or as a lot of people do, buy multiple tickets and gift them out, because it's a lovely thing for someone to have to look forward to. That draw, which takes place on the Thursday, isn't it? Or the Friday?
It's Thursday, the 6th of April.
The draw takes place. So It's not that far away either. Right, okay, we'll talk about that a little more. But Emma McHugh, we weren't able to travel for a while, weren't we? And I think the between, the airlines and destinations, we bounced back an awful lot more quickly than an awful lot of people in the industry were hoping for.
Yeah, most definitely. I think predictions were that by the end of 24 that we'd have reached back to pre-COVID levels, but we've already seen that that's already been achieved. Like Ireland has actually its highest air connection at the moment in 2023.
Which is more choice for us then, yeah?
More choice. Yeah. 30 new routes out of Irish airports now this year than pre-COVID. So the bounce back has been, it's been very, very successful. People have been itching to travel. Most people have dipped their toe last year. Some people may be holding out. And
my toe's still in my sock.
What better way to do it than with €10,000 voucher?
Fantastic. And as I say, you can splurge on. This gives someone the opportunity for that holiday of a lifetime. That is probably beyond most of us, if the truth be told. We'd love to think that we could. Personally, for me, I think I'd break it up and do a series of things over time. Have you seen any difference in trends, with the reset? Because it kind of is like a reset, because we got out of habit for doing anything for 2 or 3 years. So in terms of destinations or types of holidays, have you seen any different trends since we started travelling again?
Spain is still number one for Irish. Per capita, we are the biggest visitors in the world into Spain per population. But what we have seen is people who are going back on their family holiday are maybe treating themselves to where they might have done a 3-star, they might just go 4-star this time, they might have done self-catering, they might choose to go all-inclusive. We're also seeing a lot of group holidays, whether it's ladies celebrating a big birthday, travelling together, or multi-generational, where grandparents now are going to be joining families on holidays. Some of the bucket list stuff like Disneyland, Orlando is coming in. You have multi-generational cruise options. And then we have kind of 30th, 40th, Vegas, 3 nights, 4 nights, and then maybe Nashville on the way home. It's a mix.
And
it's
you know what? Also,
mix.
what we're going to see here as well, I think, at least some of those that are entering, family, and we were talking about it a little later on, and not being negative, but family emigrating and have emigrated, going to America, Canada, Australia, different places to visit family that you haven't seen for ages. Do you know what I mean? Which is a holiday as well. But for some, it would be an opportunity to do that that they couldn't ordinarily do.
That your listeners abroad can enter as well. So it's not just people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So all your listeners that are...
He just says, good idea.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to go actually give them the prize in person. Very happy.
But if you've been itching to get home and you're listening in, it is open to everybody.
Really,
and as
point.
you had mentioned as well, imagine getting a gift of a ticket and being the winner.
And it's funny how we've seen this over the last while, Sean, the way it's broken up between the person who's bought the ticket or gifted it to someone, and they've all been happy however it's played out. So the closing date for entries is the 6th of April at 11 a.m. and the draw will be live on this show then at 11:30 a.m. So there's an early bird thing here again to incentivise people, because we don't know when the winning ticket's going to be bought. It could be the first ticket, could be the second, could be the second last. So people will have their own little times that they want to get in. What we're saying is get in nice and early before the 24th of March.
Yeah, we've a little incentive there, and it's a lovely incentive. So courtesy of Atlantic Travel and Celebrity Cruises, we have €1,000 voucher for a cruise, but we've topped that up with €1,000 of spending money as well. So if you buy a ticket between now and the 24th, you'll be in our, what I would all call the draw before the big draw.
I know, and I despise.
I know you just love that. I just love that. I had to get that one in.
No, I don't. I get you. So that's 2 weeks, right? So you've got 2 weeks to buy your tickets to be in both draws effectively, isn't it?
Absolutely.
2 weeks today, isn't that
two
correct?
chances to win. And the trends have been that the buy-in early has been more favourable in the last 4 or 5 draws.
Listen, there's people entering competitions in the last week for a €1,000 voucher to a celebrity cruise booking with €1,000. They'd say, right, I'll have a pitch at that. It's a tenner, right? That's actually just the bonus. You're still in then for the big one, 10,000. And, again, we've a great reaction to these competitions, don't get me wrong, but this is not sort of an international Facebook competition where you've got hundreds of thousands of people buying tickets. Do you know what I mean? We have a pool here that of people that will buy. What I'm trying to say is that you've a far better chance of winning a competition like this, in my opinion, than you might have some of these sort of national, international competitions that you also might see on on social media. So Spain, you're saying, Emma, is eternally possible. I actually thought I'd prefer Portugal to Spain.
Yeah, it would be number 2 on...
I'm actually heading for Spain this year, so yeah. And I haven't been in a number of years. I've been going to Portugal, and for some reason we're back at Spain. So it would be nice to... I love two. I love the two of them. The fact that you're guaranteed the sun.
Come here. It's like trying to pick between my children. I'm not saying... I'm not turning my nose up at Spain here. You know what I mean? But I don't know, I prefer the eldest, Portugal.
But only twigged that one.
But I'm joking. The only thing, the thing though is, like, I haven't been away in ages though, Emma. The thing with me though is I would have a tendency to play it safe. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was lucky enough to get to Lanzarote, and then south. That's Spain, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then south Portugal, right? I don't have the. Maybe it's because of the risk of the money. I would like maybe try Greece. I don't know. Would I like it? I don't know. I don't want to risk it. Do you know what I mean? Or even maybe France, southern France. But I suppose if I had money that wasn't mine that I'd won, I might feel a little bit more adventurous. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Whereas I err on the side of caution. I want to play it safe, so I'll go somewhere where I know.
Familiar is good too, though.
It is, but I would like
people love to go back to where they've been because, you know, sometimes you spend that first day or two getting to know the surroundings. If you're landing day one, you know what restaurant you want to go to at night. So,
but I want to spread my wings. But I do accept. I do enjoy that familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I'm saying is, if I had the resources, like if I had a €10,000 spend here,
you would take a chance.
I wouldn't mind.
You could take a few chances.
I get those.
You can take me.
I could. Your golf clubs would cost too much to put on the plane. Sean.
That's true. That's true.
So we've are up in obviously the islands: Tenerife, Lanzarote, Portugal, mainland Spain. Where would be next for the Irish? Is it Greece?
Greece,
Is it?
Greece and Italy as well is extremely popular.
Italy's another country I've never been to.
Yeah, but you have, I suppose, with Italy, you have a mix of the Sorrento, Amalfi coast, where it's quite hotel based, and then it's very, very popular for camping holidays for families.
Okay.
So up around Lake Garda, Sirmione, up around that area is absolutely stunning. So, you know, it does cater to a multitude in terms of what you're looking for. A lot of people could do 3 nights Rome, Florence. Like, Italy is fantastic. France then as well is extremely popular. Dubrovnik this year as well is we do see an increase in people looking to go to Dubrovnik, and then cruise as well is
and I think
one.
Everyone at this point is woken up to the fact that it's not just a specific demographic that enjoys cruising. Cruises are for everyone, intergenerational. There's a question I was going to ask in terms of accommodation. Do people? Is it villas? Is it apartments? Or is there been any changes in that over the years in terms of the holidays you're booking for people?
Last year, what we would have seen would have been people wanting more independent accommodation, so a villa. Post-COVID, people were probably a little bit more wary of mixing and stuff like that. So either self-contained apartments or resort hotels that wouldn't have maybe 300-400 rooms, smaller boutique style. But this year, I suppose it's because of availability as well. It's what's left.
Right. And just before we wrap up on the holiday, in terms of cost this year, where's the price point like compared to previous years?
There's definitely an increase, and I would say probably about 15% for peak months.
Is that on 2019 or
yes?
Okay,
yeah,
it's 15%. Okay, it's
about
not nothing, but it's not quite where I expected it to be either.
Yeah, but if you're looking at July, August, they were always the most expensive months to go.
Yeah, but for me, I would
do one for you in July and August.
Why would I? I mean, I'd be in Ireland. You know, I mean, it's horses for courses. But I love it here in the beautiful weather for the 2 days.
Yeah,
the
May and
Wednesday,
September
Thursday
tend to be the best value months,
they're the cheeky
where you
ones.
have the weather and the price point that kind of tie into.
And then people do, if you don't have children, some will take their kids out of school, but other people they can go somewhere and there's not as many of other people's children around. You know, a lot of people factor different things in. But you can decide whatever you want to do with the €10,000 holiday voucher. Our tickets are 1 for a tenner, then it gets cheaper for you, 6 for 50 or 10 for 80. You can individualise them for yourself or for people around you, for gifts, whatever it might be. If you buy them in the next 2 weeks, you're also in a draw for €1,000 cash, along with a €1,000 voucher for any celebrity cruise booking. So get on the website. Now, if people don't want to go on the website, some do, some don't, you can still call, can you, and buy your ticket here over the phone, Sean?
You can, yes, and it's live now. So if you want to buy today, 07491 25,000.
All right. Anything else? I think that's it, isn't it?
No, good
can't
luck.
get much better than that now, in fairness.
Right, brilliant stuff. All right, good luck if you are entering the draw drums on its way back, or the trombone. What does she call it again? Or Fionnuala called it?
Fionnula's tombola.
Tombola, that's it. All right, Emma McHugh, owner of Atlantic Travel. If you want a chat with people who know where you might want to go or can give you advice, you can call the crew at Atlantic Travel and they can make it all very easy for you in terms of booking your holiday or even just advice and a conversation. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Sean Quinn. Back with news shortly.
Highland Radio are going to Scotland from Monday the 1st of May to Thursday the 4th of May with the very best of music, and we would love for you to join us. Staying at the 4-star Crown Plaza Hotel in Glasgow, we are bringing with us some of the biggest country stars, including myself, David James, Declan Ernie and Robert Mazzell, to name a few. You will enjoy luxury travel to Glasgow, 3 nights dinner, bed and breakfast with music and entertainment each evening. Join us on the Highland Fling to Glasgow this May for only €575 per person. To book, call Highland Radio today on 07491 25,000. Early booking is advisable. Single supplement applies.
For confirmation and First Communion, there's a great selection of suits, casual wear and footwear at Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Top brands include 1880 Club, Diesel and Tommy Bow Footwear, all at great prices. Stand out for the big day at Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
Are you building a new home or renovating? Here at McDade's Bathroom Plumbing and Tiles Buncrana, we have a wide selection of high-quality bathroom fixtures and tiles and expert plumbing services. We make the process easy and stress-free. We understand the importance of staying within budget, which is why we offer competitive pricing and financing options to make your bathroom renovation more affordable. McDade's Bathroom Plumbing and Tiles Buncrana. Our team of experts will help you every step of the way.
Farm entitlements values slashed. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
New cap changes are fueling the sale of entitlements. Shock new cow quota for young farmers and partnerships. Fears over new suckler scheme payment clawback. Hopes grow for sheep crisis support payment. Solar farm expansion squeezing land availability. Plus, find out if you're paying over the odds in the latest fertiliser price survey.
All inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie. The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
That's entertainment, live music, and so much more besides coming up for you in the next hour. Stay right where you are at a minute. Can't speak today. At a minute past 11. It's 2 minutes now by the time I got it out. Here is Michaela Clark with the news update.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A former Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council says the housing crisis will not be resolved until we have a real debate in this country which recognises the fact that we are in a crisis situation which demands a special response. On today's 9 till noon show, Brendan Byrne said one of the problems at the moment is that government is doing what governments do and the opposition is doing what oppositions do. Well, the Public Expenditure Minister says ending the eviction ban is one of the hardest decisions he's ever been involved in. Pascal Donaghy's comments come after the Taoiseach said that even if there is a rise in homelessness as a result, the ban won't be reintroduced. The Donegal Deputy has questioned why the government continues to sit on its rainy day fund while school construction is put on hold. A rise in construction costs has been cited by government as the reason why 58 projects nationwide have been stalled and around 14 of them are in Donegal. There appears to still be a lot of apprehension in Donegal among defective block homeowners over rebuilding on existing foundations. The government's stance is that in the case of a demolition, the property must be rebuilt on the original foundations. However, campaigners are questioning the exclusion of foundations from the scheme. Serious questions are being raised as it submerged the Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service was tasked to Donegal on 93 occasions last year. Latest figures from Donegal County Council reveal that the Donegal Fire Service was mobilised 935 times during 2022 and dealt with a total of 827 incidents. Councillor Martin McDermott is seeking clarity, however, as to what has led to the high volume of calls being responded to by the North's Fire Service. And motorists in Donegal are urged to continue to drive with caution. A Spanish yellow ice warning remains in place in the county until midday. Donegal County Council is warning of black ice between Buncrana, Burnfoot and Muff, as well as between Glen Ely and Moville. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
We're all looking to the future with one eye on the cost of living. Where can we save a bit on the costs without cutting back on the living part? Well, here's something major. Buy your car insurance online with Liberty right now and we'll give you up to 3 months free. That's the cover you want and the savings you need. That's Liberty Insurance. Future-proof. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros Company of the Seguros Area Seguros SA. Trading as Liberty Insurance is authorised by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pensions Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Up to 3 months free is equivalent to a 25% online discount. Applies to new private car policies only. Subject to a minimum premium and applied before optional covers.
It is time for That's Entertainment, and as I say, the band's back together. It is Michael and El Presidente Fanula. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
Is there a title I'm expected to use on it?
No, I think you've got it right there when you say, yeah.
Okay,
just
listen,
look at as long as you're bowing and, you know, giving me due deference, I'm
well, that's exactly what it's like.
Okay, that's what I told him. Every time we meet up, he has
That's
to
what
bow.
I've had to do all week.
But thank you for squeezing us in, because it's a challenging role, isn't it, in terms of everything, but the front-facing bit for me is the amount of stuff you go into and different meetings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting. Yeah, well, I have been. I was the vice president there for a year, so in fairness to the chamber, it does give you a little bit of a run in. So it gets you kind of up and running with it, so that you kind of know a little bit what to expect. But yeah, it is like I went to. I was honoured to be invited to the Rotary. Had a lunch for the brilliant work that they do, but in aid of in honour of the International Women's Day, and you kind of arrive in thinking, oh, this is lovely. I've been invited to lunch, beautiful, lovely, and then they're like, oh, you'll say a few words, and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, in fairness, there's no problem with that. So really, effectively now, it's au revoir Galway, bonjour Donegal. I mean, you really
I don't know when I was last home. I haven't seen my poor mummy in ages.
Well, listen, you're a full-on Donegal woman now.
I know. I'd love to get the accent. That's the only thing that I really would love.
Well, let's start with getting a Galway accent, maybe.
Oh, that's true.
And then shed that, and then a Donegal accent.
I know. I really wanted a Donegal accent.
Do it in stages.
Exactly.
Okay. Listen, coming up in the next hour, we have live music. There's a great show on at the moment, or coming up, sorry, and it is 9 till 5, and we have members of a choir coming in to sing in the next hour. So stay tuned for that. Get on our Facebook, YouTube channels. YouTube much more popular than Facebook now in terms of people watching and watching back. So get on either of them anyway and watch that. And another thing that's been setting the stage on fire, and it's one of those shows that people have gone out of the way to talk to me about. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of the god tier TV shows, and that's Kinky Boots on Greenon. Now, it's all sold out, of course, and has been for quite some time. But to a man and woman, everyone who's spoken to me about it wanted to talk about it. You have to see it. This is amazing. I'm not sure if it's because obviously it was brilliant, or it shattered their expectations. I'm not quite sure. Fanula, we'll start with you. You squeeze this into your schedule.
Yeah, well, look, I love the musicals that the Letterkenny Musical Society do. They've always done a fantastic job, and our own Donal is involved in it, so that kind of makes me go even more. His deep timbre and the whole thing. But this was a must-see, because I was promised Donal in high heel boots, and It did not disappoint.
Greg's face. I hope the camera's on Greg for that expression.
I have surreptitious photographs taken, which will be used at a later date when I want Donald to do something he doesn't want to do.
My problem with that is it's not the imagery. I think it would look quite fetching.
Oh, he does.
He struggles with ice, and my concern would be.
I know it is. It probably is a miracle. It probably is a miracle that he didn't injure himself in some way. But thank God he did not.
Yeah.
No, it's a great show. First of all, you have to say is congratulations and fair play to the society, because this is the first time that this show has ever been seen in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's only
so
just
it's ambitious, and I know that word's trotted out, but to take something on that hasn't been done here before.
That hasn't been done here before. It hasn't been done in this country on any kind of an amateur level whatsoever. You know what I mean? I think it came professionally here up to Dublin about 3 or 4 years ago, and that's really the last time that I ever heard anything about it. I never even thought about it as being a community program, which is really, I suppose, what the society is. But they did a fantastic job of it. Really good. They had an amazing cast, an amazing team behind it. You know, there's some really good, fantastic, strong singers. They also, which I like about it as well, is they're not afraid to open up their doors and bring in people from other parts if they're needed, you know, in order to bolster the group. There was an amazing group of guys that did all of the dressing up and wore the heels the whole way through. They had 3 or 4 young guys and one older guy that looked like, hard to tell through all the makeup, that danced the whole way through.
Huge amount of energy required between the singing and the performing, and both at the same time.
Absolutely. The dancing in this was up to another level. They definitely threw it all into the dancing, because I've seen sometimes in the past, and occasionally you'd kind of go, oh yeah, that person dances like I do. Which is exactly what you expect from, you know what I mean? These are not professional actors and everything. They do such an amazing job. But they just really knocked it up a level. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure about the actual show.
Story. I know what you mean,
there's kind of like bits of it, as in whoever rewrote the movie into a musical. You know, sometimes you just feel like they're just sticking songs in, and there's a couple of areas where you're kind of like, well, they could have shaved 20 minutes off this now, just because some of the songs are kind of feel a bit filler. But that's not the society's fault. That's the people that wrote the actual thing in the beginning.
You can't go off script with these things too.
Yeah, it's kind of the script that's in it. But they did an amazing job of it now. And as I said, if it was worth it alone, just to see all these people going around in
their slingbacks,
fantastic high heel boots.
And come here, did you see it, Mike?
I did. I was there right beside. I concur with everything Finuta said. The lead actor is fantastic. The choreography is fantastic. There was a couple of songs that kind of really stayed with me. I think it was that second one, you know, the guy with the
guitar.
Yeah, I thought that was an excellent. And the
final song.
The final song.
Love the way you now finish off each other's thoughts and sentences.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary. Just to be honest, it's a little bit scary. I also, the lady who came in here and she sang, and that was what I think the term is, showstopper, because it was brilliant. She is,
but it was the energy,
her voice.
When you're in a room with someone like that there, right, and the actual energy just to push it out at that volume and at that quality, and then to have dancing and running and changing and everything. Like I don't think I wonder would I be fit for it. Like, it's astonishing.
The stamina and energy. I mean, you've touched on this already. I mean, to do that night after night after night, I think most of us would, like, even those of us that do standard plays, after a couple of nights, you know, the energy starts to sag. They're on all week, and they're dialing it up to 101% every night.
Right, okay, good stuff. Full marks then, and I think a really fair assessment too, Fionnuala. Don't have to sugarcoat it either. The show was brilliant, the production was brilliant, the actors were brilliant, but whomever adapted it for stage, maybe it could be trimmed a little bit, maybe.
It wouldn't be, as a show, it wouldn't be the best show that I've ever seen in the sense of the storyline and the script and that kind of thing. But what they did with it was phenomenal, and they actually, which I didn't think was possible, took their ability and skill level up another notch. And I think the fact that it was sold out and everything shows people need to be more aware of these things when they're coming, because they could have done another night.
But there is a thing.
People should be just booking it up straight away as soon as you hear it.
I think we are seeing a thing, and I don't know what the reason is why, and I know times are difficult for an awful lot of people, but things are very well attended. Football matches, soccer matches, shows like this, that young group of young fellas, the name will come to me. Apologies. Sold out 3 or 4 nights in Greenon and a couple of nights elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? The Balor and all that.
Yes.
Like, if you put on the right show,
People will come out. Yeah.
We touched on this previously. Right. I can't believe, actually, that is only 1 week to St. Patrick's Day. And hopefully there's loads of things organised right throughout the county and the region. And by the way, if you want us to give it a mention next week, to give your thing a plug, get in touch with us now. 07491 25,000. Doesn't matter where you are. I'm sure there's great things organised from Ballyshannon, Bundoran, Donegal Town, Mount Charles, right up as far as Malin, and far out as far as Dunlow, and then of course the beautiful Twin Towns and all up our east coast, and then into the north as well. Wherever you are, if you're behind the organisation of any events or something to do with St. Patrick's Day, a community event, that it would be helpful if I mentioned it, that such and such a parade starts at such and such a time. Message us in 086 60 25,000 and we'll collate them and read some of them out next week. Of course, Fanula Letterkenny is one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the region, maybe behind Derry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't believe, right, I don't want to old man this because it feels like I'm doing it, right? I can't believe it's a week to St. Patrick's Day. Where is this year going? And I mean that absolutely genuinely. I don't know where it's going. The nights are lovely and bright now. Mornings are bright, and we're just a week away from our national holiday.
Yeah,
do you?
I know.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same.
Flown,
yeah, it doesn't seem. To me, particularly as I leave my estate this morning, and there's still snow and ice, a little bit on the ground now. I know we haven't had that for a few weeks, but it still feels like it's the touches of winter are here.
Yeah. So, whoever was organising all these events, and you talk to us a little bit about what's happening in Letterkenny, it's come at them really, really quickly as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh God, it's totally come around really fast for us. As most people may or may not be aware, it's the Chamber that runs the St. Patrick's Day Parade here in Letterkenny, and we have a great team from the board that does it. I mean, really, to be honest, Leonard Watson has done, I would say, 75%, if not more.
Before you move on, I saw Leonard trying to interview you, and all I want to say to Leonard is it's not as easy as I make it look. I think if he is listening, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
You should have seen you should see the blooper reel that went with between the two of us.
That's actually what I'm referring to. What you ended up with was quite polished.
Yes.
But
it took us quite a few tries to get there.
But anyway, he's been so focused on organising this. Go on.
But he's doing a brilliant job. That's what it is. All his focus is on organising this. He's done a great job. He's chairing the committee this year, and it's just been fantastic in himself. And our own Jimmy Stafford has been doing a lot of stuff with the music. So there's going to be, if anybody was at last year's, it was one of the biggest parades that we've had in a long time. I think people were really ready for all the talk, after 2 years of it not being there, they were really ready to bring their kids out and that kind of thing, and it was just amazing, the crowd that we got. So this year we're trying to make it as big as it was last year, and actually it's going to be a little bit bigger. We've got a lot of music on the street. We have Clive and his photo booth is going to be there.
It's all on Friday, isn't it? Yep.
It's all on Friday. It's all going to be on Friday. It's all along the main street as we've had in previous years. There's going to be performers in different spots. I know outside Gallagher's Hotel, and there's going to be some other performers further up the town. There's going to be photo booths there so people can get their picture taken when they're all done up, because most people kind of have the hats and the scarves and stuff like that with it. The parade starts at 3 p.m. from Tesco's, but the actual music and entertainment and everything starts at 2, so feel free to come along early and get experience of the atmosphere and sort of meet up with everybody
traffic
else.
Restrictions I presume will apply, but obviously there'll also be accommodation made for people with mobility issues, as there is every single year.
Absolutely, we totally will have all that. And we're just calling out again to say, if there is anybody that have been thinking about doing it and meant to contact us to become involved, be it that they're music, if you are in a band or music or anything like that, if you can march, that's fantastic. If you need to be on the back of a lorry, as we say, float, that's no problem. We can accommodate that as well, as long as we have enough notice in order to do that. We can get a float ready for you. We've different bands and music in it, but there is spaces obviously available for anybody that wants to get involved. And if they do, they can just contact the chamber office or any of the chamber board members that they might know, and we can do all of the extra work that might be needed. We can do the bits, like I said, get a float ready, get the truck and all that kind of stuff if that's what they need, provide power for people when they're on the floats. And then for the community groups, more the merrier. but just for safety, health and safety, we just need to know in advance, so we can't have people just showing up on the day.
And I
But we'd love
appreciate
to have
I
loads.
appreciate health and safety, but I really do feel sorry for children nowadays because of the way this world has gone. It's gone mental with health and safety. Like, they'll never get the joy going to a St. Patrick's Day event where they'll get a hard-boiled sweet to the face, or a refresher bar to the back of the head, or a lollipop stick to the eye socket. Do you know what I mean? They just will never have that joy that we had as younger people.
I know.
And it's just
hanging
because
off the back of a
the
lorry
world-
without any barricades.
The
nothing
world
around.
has gone
Nothing between
crazy.
you and the tarmac.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know how much tastier a hard-boiled sweet is after you've picked it out of your face?
Oh, I know. But do you ever I remember being back on the floats with the youth clubs and different things like that, with no barricades around you, and your friends going, "Saved your life, saved your life," as the float is moving. Yeah, they are missing out in those amazing experiences.
25 kids hanging out of a link box. I mean, the world's gone mad. Why can't we do that
I know.
anymore?
Why do people think that's dangerous? But look, it can still be fun for the kids.
Right, okay, we can still have fun then.
We
all right.
can still have fun. They just need to come and look, for a lot of kids, just to experience it. Some people have never even seen what it's like.
It's
the
lovely.
amazing what you think what COVID has done. Like when you've got kids of 4 and 5.
After the gap, we were at a couple of things last year, and we were in Carragart as well. And it was just lovely to be around with other people.
Yeah.
The simple things in life that, and I'm not going to allow myself now to take it for granted anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's just to be around
And
other
absolutely
people walking
is.
up and down the street. How are you? Are you well? What's the crack?
That's
You know?
it.
And that's what it does wherever they're being organised right across the region. Do you know what I mean? It's just getting out and mixing and having a crack.
Absolutely, because that's really what it's about. I mean, the whole idea of even having a St. Patrick's Day is kind of crazy, but it really what it's about people in their community.
Can I just say right now,
together.
you're quotable now. See,
I shouldn't be saying so. Well, it's
No,
not that I do.
yeah,
I'm
I
nothing
know, but
against
before
St.
you got the
Patrick.
chain, right?
I
You can say whatever. Now you're actually quotable.
I have to be careful. Well, I've nothing against St. Patrick's and the day, but you know what I mean.
I
The fact
know
that
what
we all
you're
dress
saying.
up and get green and wear the gold. It's like really, what is it about? Only just kind of getting
course,
together with your
exactly. And
neighbours
it's the same with
the people around you and
all
having a good
different
time.
cultural celebrations. It's the same
they're
thing. of
exactly.
course.
They're all a bit cracked, but it's about meeting the community and getting out into the community, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
So 2:00 for the entertainment, 3:00 for the parade. Come one, come all, and if you want to march, we are only delighted to have you.
And if I presume the world exists outside Letterkenny, if you,
It does 100%.
If I'm only joking, it's an old joke. I say. All jokes aside, though, if you're organising a community event like that or whatever, and you want us to give us a plug over the course of the next week on this programme, as we do every year, get in touch with us and we'll do that. Do you go out onto the street St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah,
Michael,
different.
Is that something you kind of everyone's different, isn't it? That's what makes
He's
us
so
all one.
socially, he's so socially weird, I doubt.
That's
Yeah,
why
well,
I kind of came into the question in the way that
In
I
a
gave
roundabout way,
him.
go
Well, I
on.
gave him a number of outs.
Well,
without taking
it away. Well, last year I didn't partake because I was on stage that night and we were building the stage and we were working from early in the morning. Fanula and Greg. So just so you know.
That's perfect.
And so like the Strabane Festival is on and the drama and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, during the day, different years. Yes, if
But
I'm
that's
around.
still celebration,
Of course, yeah.
if you're looking forward.
But I'm
to
not doing
putting
that this year, so I'll be out and about. Yeah, not on stage. I mean.
Okay, and who's leading the parade? Do we know in Letterkenny? Is it done like that in the town?
It is, but now you've just...
No, that's fine. We'll get to that. No,
Let's pretend it's a surprise.
Yeah, say it's
Let's
a secret.
Say it's a surprise.
Say you
I
don't
know
want to
that
disclose
we've
it.
got lots of, we have the army involved. We have lots of different civic groups and that kind of thing that are going to be involved in it. But I should throw it out there because we were having a conversation the other day. Pierce Brosnan is apparently in the county. If he would like
big
to
time.
come and be... the
Grand
Grand
Marshal.
Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day
He's
parade in Letterkenny.
He's booked down the country.
He's everywhere. He's popping up everywhere.
He's
yeah.
popping up
In
all
Dun-
over the place.
yeah.
I'm not even sure what the movie. Do you know what the movie is that they're making?
I know. I know there's something.
It
Production.
is
There's so many
literally
movies in
popping up
Donegal now.
everywhere. He was, outside uppercuts where Linda's uppercuts down in Donegal town, where the boy's hair used to be cut. I was like, that's Pierce Brosnan standing outside uppercuts with Linda. Okay, and then he's up in
Yeah.
Bars in Downings, and then he's across in Dunlow, and he's getting there. Is he filming in all these places?
Yeah, they're filming.
He's up here filming. But
there is another film. Yeah,
no, I know he is, but he's not filming. Is he touring as well at the same time?
Oh, he probably has days. I mean, yeah, he probably has downtime. I presume. Yeah, he's downtime.
Right.
Downtime.
I just a wee quick serious thing for those of you out on the road, just to be careful, because as things thaw, we might think that everything's safe, but there are a number of cars off on the back road from Drumkeen down into Letterkenny at Ron. Please avoid using that road. It's not a road I'm a massive fan of at any time, but just be careful on it. And also Newtown to St Johnstone to Rosgier Lifford, treacherous this morning. They say the road was untreated. That came in a little under an hour ago, so I'm not sure if it's improved or not, but anyway, look at if you're out and about, be extra careful. Right, Kevin's been on to us. I feel like it's a three-hander now sometimes with Kevin. Forgot to add this week, just after you had President Fionnuala on, bow one final time. Did I hear you had Eric Roberts on afterwards? Yeah, Eric is the influencer, isn't he? Yeah, he was on. Although across all social media, I'm kicking his ass. But anyway, I lost coverage after I was thinking, how did you get star of Blackbird on and Julia's big brother? Different Eric Roberts. As it was Michael and Fionnuala's fave film of 2022.
Yes.
Right up there.
Oh, that's what
by the way, saw Michael's film recommendation. I thought that Cocaine Bear, a hilarious horror slapstick film. Don't feed bears, he says, and a long-awaited last film of Ray Liotta. Okay, and I'm glad he went out in a high.
Yes.
You know, sometimes
something critical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
He also became.
Plus, he was in the TV show Blackbird. Remember that was his other last.
Yes, that is exactly. There's the connection in this.
Yeah.
He almost became Tony Soprano after Goodfellas, and a Donegal connection as his Goodfellas character Henry Hill shared a cell with an ex-cop, and only found this out later too that he had an Irish mother but was given up for adoption. That's Kevin coming in from Dunlow.
Kevin never misses, unlike Fionnuala who left us high and dry there for a few weeks. But I'm okay. I'm not bitter.
Very posh people to hang around with.
I'm not bitter.
All right, okay, listen, you're texting in your numbers today. Thank you very much indeed. 086 60 25,000. Keep them coming into us. 074 91 25,000. So far, I think it's nice actually to look forward to something real that we can all get out to next Friday if people are well enough to do so and can and what have you. So that's exciting.
And it looks like it's going to be dry anyways, which is great.
Good. Oh, come here.
No, dry is all you need. You can handle
for
it.
next Friday.
You can handle it.
I know they've got long range weather forecasts.
I'm only telling you what my phone says. And I listen to my phone at all times.
I believe
am
you.
A slave to it.
I actually think we're going to get a lovely next Friday. I actually share that opinion. We might need to get Alan from Carlo Weather
to confirm.
I think just to confirm. All right, back with more with the crew after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Are you ready to experience something extraordinary? Cultural gems in Croatia, ancient temples in Asia, art in Italy. Anything and everything is possible with Travel Department. Pick a destination and a date and we'll take care of everything. Flights, accommodation, excursions, expert local guides and all that planning. For guided group tours to dream destinations, book today at traveldepartment.com. Irish owned and operated for over 25 years. Travel Department. Let's see more.
Farm entitlements values slashed. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
New cap changes are fueling the sale of entitlements. Shock new cow quota for young farmers and partnerships. Fears over new suckler scheme payment clawback. Hopes grow for sheep crisis support payment. Solar farm expansion squeezing land availability. Plus, find out if you're paying over the odds in the latest fertiliser price survey.
All inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
If you have magic moments or great memories sitting on your phone or in the cloud, have them printed at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Get larger 7x5 prints for the same as 6x4s. 35mm and film from disposable cameras also printed and digitalised. Use the in-store kiosk. Download the McGee's Photo Prints app or visit mcgees.ie. Photos printed instantly, within an hour, or in by 10, ready by 5. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
Are you building, rebuilding, or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest, Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2023. It will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Admission is free to this 3-day event from March 10th to March 12th. This ad is kindly sponsored by McGee Insulation.
A concert to celebrate Sharting the Gaeilge and to support Miva Fire Service will take place in the Procreal Hall, Carrigart, this Saturday, 11th of March, commencing at 7 p.m. Idir winter na heitse agus siamsaríile bei ceol, beiraniacht, drama, cup an té agus neartile siúl le lein na híthe. Bígí lein, sir cheadiste ó Chorley Hyundai, Gwynanal agus LPT Huiskert, Gwynanal.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The perfect Mother's Day gift to see the one and only Tom Jones in Belfast. Join us as Highland Radio hit the road to see the timeless legend as he headlines Belsonic 2023, Friday 16th of June. Your trip includes luxury transfers, bed and breakfast in the 4-star Clayton Hotel Belfast and your standing ticket to the outdoor event. Contact us today on 074 9125,000 to see Tom Jones at Ormo Park Belfast, Friday 16th of June.
This year, the standard petrol grade in Ireland will change to a greener fuel, E10. E10 is already the standard petrol used in Northern Ireland, Britain, and many other European countries. As a cleaner fuel, its introduction will help Ireland meet its climate targets, reduce emissions, and drive our change to a more sustainable way of living. To find out more, please visit gov.ie/E10. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
New this week in Home Store and More. All mattress protectors are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price mattress protectors are gone, they're gone. Also, all Pyrex are still half price. But when all the half price Pyrex are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Arcadia Retail Park Athlone. Home Store and More. A happy home.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Householders and building owners in areas susceptible to wildfires are advised to cut back or remove any vegetation or other combustible material in the vicinity of their house, building, or oil tank to prevent wildfires damaging or destroying their property. Cleared areas should be maintained free of vegetation and combustible material. Donegal County Council would like to remind landowners and members of the public that under the Wildlife Act 1976 and 2000, it is an offence to cut, grub, burn, or otherwise destroy any vegetation growing on any land not then cultivated between the 1st day of March and the 31st day of August in any year. Landowners are also reminded that under the Waste Management Regulations 2023, the burning of agricultural waste is currently prohibited. Donegal County Council, protecting your environment.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Okay, you're welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and we now have a bit of conversation and some live music because the Londonderry Musical Society are putting on 9 to 5 the musical. It's in the Millennium Forum from Wednesday the 29th of March to Saturday the 1st of April. Judith O'Hare is the chair of the LMS and joins us in studio now, amongst others. Good morning to you, Judith.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks very much for having us on. We're delighted to.
Thanks for calling down.
Very pleased. The roads are so good coming up.
Yes, I know, because I was a wee bit worried, but anyway, I'm glad that you've made it safe.
Thank you.
So why 9 to 5 the musical? Because you've put on a lot of different stuff.
We have, yes. We've been on the go for 60 years, so we've done most of the traditional shows. The last two were Sound of Music and Calamity Jane. So we wanted a bit of a change, and it was actually Peter suggested it. We'd go modernise ourselves.
That's Peter Doherty, the musical director, who's sitting to your right.
Yes,
okay,
right.
He's going to be playing the keyboard for us.
So we've it's a great show. I mean, we didn't realise it. It's really, Dolly Parton is really some lady. The music is terrific in it. I mean, everybody knows the big song 9 to 5, but the rest of the show is just full of lovely music. It's actually very tricky from the chorus point of view, because we're more like backing singers, but we've such great leads. You'll meet them now in a minute. But we've also got Michael Poole is our director. He's a drama coordinator in the tech, and he's a really good director. And Peter's been with us now for I think 7 years. And then we have Vanessa Chapman, our choreographer. So we have a great team, and we've been working now from January, and we hope that we'll put on. The show is really just full of everything. It's a great story, the great comedy turn. The great three girls work in an office. They become unlikely. They're unlikely
and is this
friends.
Violet, Doralee and Judy?
That's right, Violet. Judy's the newcomer, and she's very innocent. She hasn't worked before. And the boss, Franklin Hart, is absolutely dreadful. He wouldn't allow to be in an office nowadays. But I suppose in the 70s when this is set, there may have been people like him around. But he's absolutely dreadful. But the girls really get their own back on him at the end. It's really good fun.
The three you mentioned, the three characters are played by Lorraine Roddy, Sophie Doran and Cora Early, who are all with us today. Lorraine, what is this show like to be a part of?
That's great to be a part of. It's great fun. We have such a laugh. I'm playing Violet, so she's kind of like the senior supervisor in the office, and she's kind of very straight and believes that women shouldn't be soft and can kind of do whatever they want.
And who's playing the new girl? Cora, is it?
Me, yeah.
Yeah. What's your part like? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
The rehearsals, because we haven't really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As the rehearsals they're tough, like, but they're amazing and they're great. They're great fun. My character is funny. She's got that kind of awkward kind of comedy about her, and her songs are brilliant, and that's what I love about it. Love all the music.
And Sophie, how difficult is it when you're acting, right? You know, then you have to have your stage positioning and all that kind of stuff, your movement, and then the singing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of balls to keep in the air, isn't it?
Yeah. It really is. I mean, musicals are intricate. I mean, you have those three things that you're focusing on at all times, really. But as Judith was saying, we have Michael behind us, a fantastic director. He couldn't be better. And then you have Peter. Sure, Jesus, works us like a dog, but he's unreal.
All right.
I'm glad you invoked our deity.
And Vanessa, I mean, they keep us in line. So
yeah, but Peter, listen, from a musical perspective, a lot to get your teeth into here.
To be honest with you, Judith.
Sophie, don't you be worrying about anything. You didn't do anything wrong there, all right? She's turned away there. Go ahead,
Laughing
Peter.
at the fact that Judith has blamed me, I put in inverted commas, for selecting the musical. I mean, talk about covering your back.
Yeah. Oh, come here anyway. Listen.
Seriously, no, it's a great musical. There's so much in it, and anybody that knows Dolly Parton will be really surprised of the number of genres and styles that she manages
My
to cover.
favourite song of hers is actually, I'm not sure if it's in the show or not, and it doesn't really matter, is I Will Always Love You, her version of that song.
Yeah.
I think it's far and away better. Not to de-elevate anyone else, that's to elevate Dolly. It's just beautifully done. She did a version of that with what's her name, Miley Cyrus, and it's worth checking out on YouTube. It's absolutely stunning. And the deference Miley showed, she just went through the roof in my estimations. Anyway, I'm going to use the first song to work out how many nights are between Wednesday the 29th of March and Saturday the 1st of April. Is it 5? It's 4?
Four shows.
Four shows. Right?
Not doing a matinee.
So Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. It's a beautiful venue to play in. The
Yes,
I've only recently been there, and I can just imagine the audience is just you know, brilliant view from every seat in the house.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a beautiful
it's
spot.
great.
It really is, yeah.
So if you're going to do it somewhere, might as well do it in the
Yeah,
Millennium.
just hard to fill. There's nearly 1,000 seats, so it's a challenge for an amateur group to get 4,000 people out.
That's why, you know, that's why you're putting so much effort into it. You know, if you build it, hopefully they shall come. Right. Okay. So we're going to get two tracks. We're going to get one first. What shall this be? Who's going to set this one up for us? Is it
So
one of
this
the
is
singers?
I Just Might. This comes mid show, the first act, and it just focuses on the three girls and maybe the struggles they're going through.
Go ahead. All right.
Okay.
Lorraine, Sophie, and Cora, take it away whenever you're ready.
You're the one that keeps me strong. You're the shoulder I lean on. Hard to swallow pride. When I think I've had enough, I think of you and toughen up. I know the truth inside. Life's a weapon and a tool, and I am nobody's fool. I'm nobody's fool. just keep on keeping on. But I just might make it work. I just might make it, just might rise above the heart. Now I've suffered quite the fall. I might live to see the day. I can say, hey, I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright. Have to go on either way. Have to go on. Rise above it. I just might be stronger than I know. Though I might really be surprised. Gotta get on with my life and be strong. I just might make it. I just might. I just might make it. I just might. Just might make it. Just might make it.
All right, well done. Complex, that one, isn't it? With all the harmonies, it sounds great. A lot of rehearsing just in the vocal element of it. You can see that, and it's paying off big time. Judith, tickets available for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday night. I think it's a great night out for people from right across the region. And as we say, it is in the Millennium Forum. The tickets are available at the box office?
Yes, if you can go online, millenniumforum.co.uk, and there's a number for the box office, 71264455. We have some offers too. Opening night, all seats are £15. That's the Wednesday. And then there are family tickets and group rates available. If you get a crowd, if you can get 10 to go, you get a ticket free. So if you get a busload, it'd be even better.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And support it too. I think it's important too that people support societies like yours for everything that it does, for getting people involved in stuff, the whole community side of it. It's of the community, it's for the community.
Yes, indeed. And this year, we hope to do Oliver next year. And
let's get this year out of the way first. Come back in next year. We've 4 nights to sell out, Judith.
Over the years, we get in. We start off with we've done several children's shows, and then as they develop, I think Sophie actually was in some of our children's shows, maybe in Annie and The King and I and Annie. So and Lorraine has had her 2 daughters have been at school. So it's great to nurture the talent, and then now we've got mature artists now. But we're always welcome for any new talent that wants to come along. So Cora just joined us this year. She's from First Act Group in Strabane, and we're delighted to have her.
Brilliant, and a brilliant vocalist as well as Sophie and Lorraine, of course. 9 to 5, written actually, this music and lyrics are all Dolly's.
They're all Dolly's, yeah.
Well, most people may be aware, but anyway, if they are not. Okay, just to remind everyone listening that the opening night offer, €15 for all seats. That's on Wednesday the 29th, and the subsequent nights, ticket Thursday through Saturday, 18.20, 22.50, and it's at the Millennium Forum, and it's the full show, and I think people are going to have a great night out. If you're looking to buy something for someone or treat someone to something, I think that's a good idea. Right, okay, let's hear once more from Lorraine, Sophie and Cora. Who's going to set this one up? What's this one, Peter?
This one's Shine Like the Sun, and it's quite significant in the sense that not that long ago it was International Women's Day, just the other day, and what we have is a sorority of just fantastic chanteuses. I mean, they're just going to knock your socks off. So if you come along to see the show, you're guaranteed a hoot, because it's not only is it funny, it's hugely entertaining, so you'll have a great night. This one's called Shine Like the Sun.
They say we always get what we deserve, whether good, bad, or indifferent.
That's what I've always heard.
No good deed goes unpunished, but the bad deeds you have done, stretched out, I'm sure that they would reach from here to kingdom come.
We think it's time you get what you deserve. You've got no true compassion, but you've really got some nerve.
And you've hurt every one of us in different kinds of ways.
What goes around
comes around, and each dog has its day. Under this hair is a brain, not that you'd ever care. And you only see tits, but get this, there's a heart under there. A heart that you've broken and ripped out more times than a few. Well, old Double D, Doralee, gonna stick it to you. I'm gonna shine at the sun when these clouds roll away from my door. When it's all said and done, I won't be at your mercy no more. I will prove my own worth, heal the damage and hurt that's been done. And when the crying's all done, well, I'm gonna shine like the sun. I've had enough hurt in my life, and you've been adding to it. But I'm in control now, and just like before, I'll get through it. You've hurt and embarrassed me, proving you don't give a damn. And I'm tired of men like you who make me feel less than I am. I'm gonna shine like the sun when these clouds roll away from my door. When it's all said and done, I won't be at your mercy. Shine like the sun, we're gonna shine like the sun. I am taking what's mine, I'll be fine. I am second to none. Second to none. And when the losing's all done, I'm gonna shine like the sunshine.
I've been down in my luck, I've been shadowed with trouble and sorrow. But I'm not giving up, 'cause I know there is always tomorrow. There are no guarantees, life is always a hit or a miss. But I truly believe I won't always be feeling like this.
I'm gonna shine like the sun when these clouds roll away from my door. I won't crawl, I can run, I won't be at your mercy no more. We'll be singing it loud, be so proud that we finally won. And when the losing's all done, we're gonna shine, shine like the sun. When the crying's all done, when the lying's all done, when the trying's all done, there'll be nothing but sun. When it's all said and done, we're gonna shine, like the sun, shine like the sun.
Well done, everyone. That was fantastic. And between boobs and blasphemy, Sophie, you're going to get me put off the air. I don't know what is going on. It's all you. It's just all you. Well, the boobs was in the song. You can do nothing about that, can you? But come here. Listen, thanks, all three of you. Absolutely outstanding. Lorraine, Roddy, Sophie Doran and Cora Early. Those are the ladies that you heard singing. Peter Doherty, the musical director, playing the keyboard. And you've been listening also to Judith O'Hare, chair of the Londonderry Musical Society. That show 9 to 5. The musical is on from Wednesday the 29th of March to Saturday the 1st of April. Get on to Millennium Forum box office to get your tickets, and it's €15 for all seats on the opening night. That's the Wednesday night. All of you, thanks so much for making the journey down. We do appreciate it. We'll be back with more on the programme after we take the break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Starting a new chapter can be the most thrilling thing in the world, and the new all-electric Audi Q8 e-tron range marks the start of something even more exciting, where progress is a matter of character, where an idea stretches as far as you wish to go with the range to get you there, and where charging times are reduced, freeing you up for even more adventures. Discover the fully electric Audi Q8 e-tron range at your nearest Audi dealer.
Get ready for the all-new Paul's venue with state-of-the-art sound and light and all-new decor. Reopening Saturday 18th of March with the Whistling Donkeys. Tickets on sale now. See Paul's Letterkenny on Facebook for updates.
Anyway, last week I was in the house. I'd done a crossword, watched a bit of telly, made about 40 cups of tea, and I just thought today's the day. You see, I haven't been out much since before the pandemic, but I knew the bridge night was on. So I went. Oh, Jesus Christ, seeing them all. They're a really good laugh. I missed that.
Reconnecting with others is always good for your health. Maybe it's time to say hello again, world. A message from Healthy Ireland.
Wake up, wake up. It's Mattress Madness at Easy Living Furniture with up to 50% off all mattresses, pillows and mattress protectors. With 0% interest-free finance available, now is the perfect time to gift yourself a better night's sleep with the mattress of your dreams. Speak to one of our sleep specialists today. Massive mattress sale now on with all mattresses reduced in Easy Living Furniture. Presently retail park or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring are 25 years old, and to celebrate we're offering up to 70% off across all tiles, wood flooring and bathware. And each week 25 lucky customers will win their order for free. That's right, for free. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring, up to 70% off birthday sale now on.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. From March 26th, Aer Lingus will operate a daily service to London Heathrow, providing onward connections to 80+ destinations worldwide. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, the weather forecast now. We are going to have a cold and dry day with sunny spells. There'll be isolated showers of rain and sleet along the northwest coast or northern coasts in the afternoon and evening. Daytime temperatures 4 to 6 degrees, Michael. And Fanula, tough act to follow that, isn't it? Hello, we're literally, Michael, on a radio show on the radio, and you're talking and looking at your phone.
We're technically doing maths.
Well, it's entertainment based. We are communicating to each other.
I know why.
Communicating to each other about entertainment. We are right now.
I might give the impression, right, that this is all just seat of your pants stuff, that nothing is rehearsed, that I'm just here having a bit of crack. This is
never
a professional radio show on a proper radio station.
In my phone book, that's after your name. I have brackets professional. So
is it a capital P?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't go that far. No,
but listen, we used to be talking about Kinky Boots and singing its praises. 3 amazing vocalists.
Oh
there.
my
I can't
God,
wait to hear them with the full backing.
And that's a great show. 9 to 5 is a really good show as well.
Okay. Right. Okay, so that's great show to work on this, though. You get to see amazing things. We had 4. Oh, by the way, we had our amazing 4 acts, and I keep saying amazing, and I feel like I come across like I'm just saying it, right? And then I feel like I have to clarify, and then we're in this loop. But our finalists for Irish Music Month, brilliant acts, already making names for themselves. Boy M5, Colin Nee, Midnight Preachers, Charles James and the Rise. All brilliant. You can listen to their live performances now, and you'd hard to discern it between their live and the recorded performances, and then vote. Go onto our website, highlandradio.com. You've got to Sunday night till vote, okay? Then your votes, the listeners' votes, will be combined with an external panel of judges' votes, and then we'll announce a winner on Wednesday. That winner goes on to represent us at the region to a huge national competition. So, as I say, it's been a great week between seeing 4 amazing acts. Then we've got the crew from 9 to 5 in singing live. You know what I mean?
Local talent is absolutely amazing
and
in this region.
Just about paying me to be here to do it. It's amazing.
So everyone tells me when they hear you on air, they say, "Oh, poor Greg, you've got to give him more money. He's broke, apparently."
Yes, I have nothing.
I just start laughing and walk away.
I have nothing.
As I do to you.
See, this is the thing.
He does it for love. That's the problem. So obviously doing it for love.
The one thing you can't say that we aren't real, because that is actually exactly the truth. That's what. But anyway,
it's my management style. Just laugh and walk away. It's
come here.
Yes, it works. Yeah.
So we stick with the theatre. King, were you at King?
Yeah, we went to see King.
We have a sort of a theatre theme.
Yeah,
no worries.
Between what we've been talking about, and we'll probably run out of stuff to say, and then we'll go back to the TV. But anyway.
Yeah.
Go on.
We went down a...
You were the last return or King. Which one do you want to talk about?
King.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we were there on Saturday night. Pat Kinnavan, his latest show, a one-man show. I was really looking forward to this. I think it was the last thing we said last week, and I was absolutely mesmerised. This is a performer who is absolutely at the pinnacle of his craft. It was a story of a guy who is too afraid to leave his apartment. And it was a powerful, emotional story.
How does one person engage an audience? Is it for an hour and a half? Is it?
Yeah, an hour and a half.
How does one? Because I haven't seen it, right? Or
Well,
haven't seen a one-act show. So how does an individual entertain and hold a crowd for an hour and a
I
half?
know. Different people different performers have different ways of doing it, but I think Pat Kinnavan is unique. I mean, he was so physical. He was doing tangos. The whole thing was kind of, it was like a stream of consciousness. I mean, there was a thread, there was a story which went from A to B to C to D. But at the same time, the physicality, I mean, he was telling us the story. Then he was playing a character from the character's past. Then he was lying on his back, kicking his legs in the air, rolling around.
And technically doing the tango.
But you know what I mean? And he just did it as if it was like, it was so smooth and so
did
effortless.
you enjoy it, Fionnuala, as much?
I have to say,
like I think I'd have to work a bit harder to entertain you. I think I'd have to have 3 or 4 people with me to do it. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, the level of bravery some of these performers do is just amazing. Because, I mean, like you say, to stand out in front of people all alone and think, I've got to fill this hour and a half is phenomenal. He was unbelievable. Now, I found it was very busy. There was a lot of stuff happening. There was a lot of different threads through it. I thought maybe there was a little bit too many threads. I could have done without 1 or 2 of them because it kind of got a little bit confusing for me, and you know I hate to be confused.
Yeah, no, I think we take a hand out of you, but I think we all do.
It happens to me way too often. But you could in no way fault the performer. To watch him on stage was just fun. He came on like curled up into a ball, and suddenly he just started to express himself kind of through dance with the music, while there was a voice. He had like a voiceover done about what the tango meant and all this kind of thing. He introduced it in a different way. He played different characters within his life, instead of just saying, well, my mother said, he'd be kind of pretending he was the mother as he was saying it. That kind of way.
Yeah.
And it just came the whole way through. Very much, if you've ever seen, who's another guy who's awesome at it, which is Michael Murphy, which is a guy that lives down in Galway. But he's been up here loads of times. He is the man in the women's shoes, and the sequel to that, which I can never remember the name of it. But both are amazing. And I think just it's not a thing that everybody can do. The only thing I'd say about this... Oh, God bless you.
Apparently you can't sneeze live on the radio. I've done it.
Sure, here we go.
Another box ticked.
The only thing that I would say about this was the pity of this was really there wasn't enough people at it because people missed out big time. And I know it's hard when they don't...
my tone of questioning, right, because of my personal ignorance, right, maybe, you have to work a bit harder to sell a one-man act. Is that it? I don't know, because it's not on reputation or definitely on portfolio, because this guy's reputation
you probably are right that the general public don't think, you know what I mean, that the general public think, oh God, I'm going to have one guy stand up there kind of talking at me. I just think, look at the, in some areas the theatre is packed. Like if something like Kinky Boots, I'm sure that 9 to 5 will do equally as good, and the thing is sold out. But people are really missing out and stuff. People should give things a try. Like we went to the opera, and I'd never been to it, and it was amazing.
Is it possible though that success of something is not judged by how many people are there? In other words, if you maximise the potential audience that might be a third or a half or 2/3 of a theatre, then that is the success. Do you know what I mean? Not every seat being full necessarily is the gauge of success, depending on the show. Do you know that sort of thing?
Yeah, no.
Like if I did something there and it was half full, I think I'd be very, very happy.
I did. I mean, he was happy with the crowd, and it was. I don't mean it from his point of view.
No, I meant
it more.
Yeah, no, I get that.
For me, I meant it more from an audience point of view, because I think it's more. Like he was there, he gave it 110%, and he seemed to be. We were actually met him afterwards when he came down.
Yeah, lovely guy.
And he seemed very happy with the way it's. It's only a new show that they've kind of started.
I think it's their fifth night was Letterkenny. Yeah, I think he said
Hopefully he's going to come round again, and he's that it might.
The word of mouth will have spread,
that they might swing round and have it back again.
So and I wasn't
Yeah.
I hope
No,
you
no,
don't
I
think I was
understand.
misinterpreting your words. I
No,
get
no.
exactly what you're saying,
Yeah.
and you're 100%.
It's like TV ratings. I mean, it doesn't necessarily. The show doesn't have to be number one
Well,
or a
that's
top
it,
10
you see,
or
yeah.
a top 20 hit to be considered a
And
success.
in America, you're targeting to be number one in a demographic.
Demos is a
not
big thing,
not
yeah,
across the
yeah.
thing. Listen, okay, that's fantastic. Keep your eyes out for it. Both enjoyed King, which was in the
Green
theatre.
Onions.
Kinky Boots, nothing available for that now, but both loved that. We had the 9 to 5 crew in singing live for us, and we're not
There's
here.
a lot of good stuff coming.
Isn't
They've
there?
released their new, Green On have their kind of spring program.
The brochure, the program, yeah.
out into the summer, and people should check it out. You can check it out online. All the different
might do
stuff that's
something
coming.
separate
A
on
lot
that
of different
altogether.
stuff. They've from all different kind of genres,
'Cause
music,
booking is
theatre.
actually
More
really
opera.
quite
We're going back
different.
to more opera because we loved the Barbara.
Okay,
Isabel.
we're not here next Friday. We're here Thursday, Caroline. Yeah, Thursday. And that's just before St. Patrick's Day, so it's all going to be very exciting, isn't it?
Yes,
and we have a
very
long
nice,
weekend.
long weekend.
Feel sorry for the people who work in hospitality. It's going to be a nightmare weekend for them. But anyway, Michael Lenny, writer and blogger, thank you so very much indeed. El Presidente, Fanula Rabbit, thank you so very much indeed. And thank you to Caroline, who researched and produced the show all week, and Anya, who worked on it earlier in the week as well. We're back with you Monday morning at 9. Stay tuned. John Breslin's around the Northwest next.
There's something exciting